Number one, Hex doesn't have an unlimited tether printer propping it up. That's a big deal. And the fact that Bitcoin has an unlimited, unbacked tether printer that's just constantly running off the hook, that's a big deal. And until we get that, which I've said from the beginning, we need that we need an unbacked tether printer just like Bitcoin has if we're going to go, into outer space.
Tether isn't unbacked, actually. It's backed by bonds.
I bet. I'm sure it is. So until we have an unbacked tether printer like Bitcoin does,
we do have a
losing
printer.
When will
you guys are both wrong.
When's the US government going to buy Bitcoin? Buy Hex. You got anything? Well, why would
I said you guys are both wrong. We have a central reserve. It's the OA wallet, right?
Yeah, but it's bad.
So you have someone who controls 99% of the entire supply,
right?
Yeah,
but
dude, you got
the OA is finite.
Richard owns more ETH than anybody else.
That's finite. He's
the
a
OA
finite amount of ETH.
What I can say about the OA
you
wallet,
guys are waiting. Let me get this straight. You guys are waiting for Richard to come in and save you. Is that right?
A lot of them are, yes, absolutely.
well,
Yes, a lot of people are.
Yeah,
isn't that kind of bullish
You're
though?
waiting for the benevolent dictator to come in and
a lot
save
of
your
a
prices,
lot of
save
them
your
are.
tax.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Isn't that
are
kind of
waiting.
bullish though?
You guys have truly lost the way.
That's kind of bullish though, right? That's kind of bullish.
What was the way?
It's not bullish.
What was the way?
It's the complete opposite.
Can you define?
What about
the way
Hart's
is?
law? What about Hart's law?
Hart's.
Can you define what the way is, please? Because you use this phrase "the way" without defining what that actually means.
A decentralized money.
Nothing is decentralized, and it's not money.
Yeah.
So you just failed.
Yes, yeah, it is. It is decentralized. And
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Tell me why Bitcoin isn't decentralized. Tell me right now why Bitcoin isn't money and why it isn't decentralized.
Tell the Canadian truckers who had their addresses sanctioned about how decentralized their quote unquote money is.
Yeah, well, obviously that wasn't through the proper terms. It wasn't peer to peer. But if you do it peer to peer, it is. And again, that's got nothing to do.
No, it has everything to do with Bitcoin's.
No. You misunderstand.
No. I've been in Bitcoin since 2010.
Yeah, that's fine. But
you guys are both wrong. You guys are both wrong. There's a middle ground here.
All right, Timothy, what's your answer, Timothy? All right, they're both wrong. And what's yours? Go.
It's all about liquidity and community. At the end of the day, that's it.
Decentralization is about community.
There is no decentralization.
No. You listen to me, man. How am I retarded?
No,
Unless it's a stable coin, all we want is price to go up and to the right, right? Like, who gives a fuck? That's it. That's literally it for 99%, right? So that's
I want to hear how GoodTexture thinks
liquidity and community.
I just told you it was.
Yeah, how?
I just told you.
Because of truckers?
Yes.
Because of the truckers?
Yes.
That's your answer?
Yes, that is my.
That's your definition of Bitcoin not being decentralized?
Absolutely. It's proven.
Okay. Did the Canadian government change the fundamental rules of Bitcoin?
The Canadian government.
Yeah.
Steamrolled.
The people who seized the Bitcoin, did they change?
The Canadian government steamrolled over the top of the code. See, something that the crypto anarchists don't seem to understand is that government trumps code, and they proved it with the Canadian truckers.
Sorry, sir, you're wrong.
How did the Canadian government seize Bitcoin?
I didn't say they seized them. I said they sanctioned them. They made those Bitcoins illegal to use.
And was on the off.
Okay, and guess what? And when you send those Bitcoin, can the Canadian government stop? Can they stop that?
Yes, that's called putting people in prison. That was their enforcement.
No, they can't. They
yes,
cannot
they can.
Stop the sure, but they can't stop the transaction.
It doesn't matter. See, this is the thing. You live.
Yes, it is. That's the entire.
Here's the problem. You live in basement la la land where you sit behind a computer and never enter the real world. But in the real world, if you send sanctioned Bitcoins somewhere that you're not allowed to send, that's when people with guns and black suits, they show up and they take you to prison. Now, I know in the basement la la land that doesn't exist, but that's what happens in the real world.
That's false.
You're probably,
actually,
the most.
that's right. He's actually right.
That's right, bro.
No, he's false.
Dude, that's
He's false.
100% right. He's right.
You want to know why he's false? It's because it's on the off ramps, right? That's when they can get a judge to seize your account and freeze your account, right?
Bitcoin has no use
GoodTexture.
in the real
When
world.
did you get into Bitcoin?
Bitcoin has no use in the real world with real individuals and real people with real economic interests without off ramps, because the token itself does nothing and is totally worthless until it gets converted into USD. Now, I know the cults are going to disagree with that, but that is the truth. And that is why sanctioning these coins is so incredibly powerful.
That's literally what I just said, but you're wrong.
It's a great argument. You're wrong.
How did I pay for? How do I pay for things in Bitcoin then? GoodTexture. I pay for things daily in Bitcoin. So tell me how.
No, you don't. No, you don't. This is what you do. You send your Bitcoin to somebody. That somebody immediately dumps it for a local currency and then uses that for economic activity.
No, that's not true.
Nobody's using the Bitcoin at all.
I've been sending Bitcoin for years now, actually.
Can I get a minute to debunk this?
And they don't.
Close, but it's
they've been holding for the whole time.
Can I get like 30 seconds to explain that?
Who is the guy? Who is the guy that's talking right now? Who is that?
Timothy.
It was Tech.
No, it wasn't me.
Oh,
Ghost.
I was raising my hand. I wanted
Ghost
next.
is the one with the Australian accent.
they both have one.
Timothy's not Australian.
No, all I'm saying is that you're close, but like, do you understand that like there's bots and stuff where you can send money like Bitcoin to a wallet and they'll just like spread it out across multiple wallets? They were not sanctioning anything on chain. It was always the off ramps, right? So you saying there's like some sort of sanctioning on wallets or whatever, that's just like categorically false. It was always like off ramps. So it was like, okay, you have an account with Royal Bank of Canada. Like any money coming in is just straight up frozen. It was nothing on chain, right? Like
nobody claimed it was on chain.
Well, you just said they sanctioned the Bitcoin. How do you sanction Bitcoin?
They did.
That's impossible.
Well,
That's
okay.
impossible.
If you want to get nitpicky with the language, I understand what you're saying, right? And if you want to get nitpicky with the language,
but you kind of have to be clear because.
All right. So I'm gonna tell you what you're talking about. Okay. Can the government go in and take control of however many percentage of the miners on the network and technically freeze Bitcoin addresses? No, nobody said that. Nobody's that stupid. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that the off ramps are sanctioned. Thank you for making that clear, because I thought that we were past needing to explain mining, but thank you for making that clear.
Okay,
what does sanction Bitcoin mean?
So you don't need to off ramp then, right?
To engage in real economic activity with real businesses who take out real loans to provide real products, you need to off ramp.
Dude, there's been so many businesses open up recently around me that take Bitcoin as payment.
And you
I want to explain what does sanction Bitcoin mean. Like, what
I don't think GoodTexture knows what.
Look. Timothy, you keep interrupting the Australian guy, and it's making conversation absolutely impossible. Please stop doing that.
Yes, GoodTexture actually knows what he's talking about. It makes sense. Think about it. In a world where
idea
gold,
what he's talking about. He thinks Bitcoin is not decentralized.
It's not.
No, that's not what he said.
I will say it. It's not decentralized. Decentralization is a pipe dream. It has not existed in years. It has always been a very small.
So why haven't the rules changed then?
They have. Have you not looked at the code base? It's radically different than what it used to be. Nothing like what it used to be.
The fundamentals are set in stone. Like, the 21 million, the blocks, all that stuff is set.
No, they're not.
They haven't changed.
The chain of signatures doesn't even exist anymore. The whole architecture has been changed. Sure, for now, there's still this 21 million coin cap. It can absolutely be changed, and it probably will be.
Of course.
It already had been changed. Go look at Blockstone 4638.
Follow it.
Go look at Blockstone 4638. The first time that it was hacked, they rolled the chain back. The second time it was hacked, their Bitcoin Cash developer kindly disclosed it, but there was like a 600 millisecond gap that if someone had the technology, they could have minted, what was it, like 8 point something billion Bitcoin. Literally, they could take Bitcoin, the amount of Bitcoin that they owned it would take their Bitcoin, and they could take the rest of Bitcoin to 0.001.
And this new
okay, so Trap, why is Bitcoin almost worth $100,000 US?
Okay, so
Because
stop right there.
Because the government promotes it.
It's a
Centralized
trap.
exchanges.
The what? The government promotes it.
Exchanges. Because you could buy Bitcoin. What about Grayscale? You could buy Bitcoin 3 years ago. You could have bought Bitcoin at a 30% discount through Grayscale.
I've been going. The Hex community been trying to get onto. I've been trying to get onto centralized exchanges. A couple of you influencers from Hex have been. Well, yes, you are. I've seen a few of you guys trying to get on it. No, that's the fucking. Otherwise, the price will never go up.
I still want to know what does sanctioned Bitcoin mean. Like, that's pretty important. Like, what is that?
Blacklisted addresses. Look at Tornado Cash.
Okay, yeah, that
like
makes
that.
sense, but you can't actually like sanction Bitcoin.
I don't think they know what it means.
You can't sanction Bitcoin.
You can't stop it.
You can blacklist addresses.
Please, bro, download the Telegram bot where you can like send money to an account, a Telegram bot, and it'll send it to like 50 wallet addresses, right? That's how like 99% of rugs happen, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend anybody going to Telegram to do a goddamn thing. Because
I'm
like
just saying there's
that's
bots.
how people
There's
get
bots to like circumvent that, right?
Do not go to Telegram.
It's very easily accessible, right?
Is Ghost trying to make an argument that Bitcoin is appreciated all because it's been being used as money for the past 15 years? No, it's transitioned to a speculative asset and it sucks as money. Super expensive. Richard Hart has mentioned all the hours he's had to wait. I'm sure GoodTexture could mention that it's that hasn't improved at all. It's totally a speculative asset, so that is gone.
If anything, it's gotten worse. It's horrific.
Yeah, the timing has gotten worse.
When I first used Bitcoin, we paid zero fees, none, and the stuff just worked. And the way Bitcoin Cash works now, it's pretty similar. It's not a bad system. BSV, it's amazing. It's so fast. It's fast. It's free, instant. All this kind of stuff. There's no limit on how many things you can.
Shut your mouth.
What the fuck was that?
The Bitcoiners don't like that.
I don't care what they like. They're ridiculous. They're culty. They don't care. What the Australian guy will always end his sentences with is number go up, because that's all they care about. They don't care about the tech. They care about nothing except for number go up. And that's okay. That's fine. But at least admit it up front. At least admit that all you care about is number go up. Don't try to pretend that the tech is good, because it's absolute garbage. I'm a computer scientist. I code. I've written Bitcoin code. I've altered the Monero code. I've altered Zcash code. I did the signing ceremony for Tornado Cash. I did the signing ceremony for Zcash. I've been in this thing for a while. I know how this stuff works. And Bitcoin is total garbage. Anybody who pretends that it's not in the midst of number go up fallacies, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's like 99% of the battle in the capitalistic system, right? Like, it's all psychology, right? Like, you look at church, that's just mapping out psychology, right? Right? So if the number goes up, like, it doesn't really matter what the fundamentals are. We've seen that with meme coin.
Well, there are no fundamentals. Right? That's the point. There aren't any. There's no fundamentals whatsoever.
Well, it was like the first one. It was a first mover, right?
So I mean, but here's the thing. It was the first mover because of the tech, and there will always be superior tech to come along in replacement. And this is the Achilles heel of crypto: is infinite competition. And we've seen that Bitcoin's market dominance has plummeted. It used to be 99.9%. I don't know what it is now, but it's certainly not in the 90s. It's continually getting diluted, and it's always going to get diluted. And anybody who fantasizes that somehow Bitcoin's going to go back to 100% market dominance, the only way that happens, and it would be a good thing in some ways, the only way that happens is some type of regulatory intervention that bans all cryptos except for Bitcoin. And I'm sure, the Bitcoiners who claim to hate government, they would love it that happened. They would, be, let me keep this PG rated, but they would love that. And that's
they would accept government regulation if it
for that
promoted their shit.
Absolutely.
AI is telling me that it's 57.3% market dominance.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's better than 40 or where it used to be. So 57 is still better.
No, it's gonna drop. Yeah, I think it's gonna drop.
But still, that's pretty bad, though. I mean, for something that was what everybody claims is the first mover and digital gold and I mean, can you imagine if gold had only um 57% of the precious metals market cap? It wouldn't be gold. That's not
I
gold.
know, but it's a first mover, right? Like
Okay.
you have to understand Metcalfe's law, right? That's like.
But then they find more gold all the time.
Like look at
mining
Facebook.
more gold.
Like look at Facebook. People tried to make better Facebooks, but it's just the network is so big that it's just
But
accrues value.
there's a fallacy there. The difference is you cannot replicate Facebook with zero financial investment. You can make a better Bitcoin for almost zero financial investment. You want to make a new Instagram, it's going to take millions of dollars. You want to make a new Twitter, a new Facebook, you're going to need a fleet of engineers. You're going to need millions and millions, if not $1 billion. You want to make a better Bitcoin, it's almost free. There's no barrier to entry. And that is why the infinite competition problem is such a problem for crypto, is because there's no barrier to entry whatsoever.
That's great though, right?
No, it's not.
It brings more creativity to the market, right?
No, you're not really. You're bringing dilution. There's nothing new that's been done. All these things do. All these cryptos do the exact same thing. You send from A to B. That's all they do. I mean, yeah, there's some little, some fancy stuff here and there, smart contract. But at the end of the day, you send it from A to B. They all do that. They've all always done that. And there's not a terribly large amount of innovation beyond that, except maybe like ZK Snarks, the zero knowledge proofs with privacy and Tornado Cash and Zcash and all this stuff. That's been probably the only real market advancement. But like take Ethereum. What innovation is there of being able to launch meme coins on top of it? It's not really that innovative. Yeah, I mean it does some cool stuff, but at the end of the day, people always cared about crypto because you can send from A to B. Look at these quote unquote structural blue chip coins like XRP and XLM. What do they do at the end of the day? They send coins from A to B. And there hasn't been a ton of innovation in that space. There's only been dilution with all this garbage. So that dilution isn't helping anybody. It's just sapping resources that could have been used to do something.
For what though?
Anything. Fucking build rocket ships. Anything.
Bro, that's payment rails. These are the payment rails that are competing with Swift, right?
No, they're not competing with Swift.
XRP's not about payment rails. Ripple have no direction.
Oh, fuck XRP. Like I'm not talking about XRP, but like this is another type of infrastructure that can you can transfer value without intermediaries, right? And then we can just go from there, right? I think that's revolutionary.
I like micropayments. I do like the fact you can do a micropayment with crypto.
And you've got to have BSV for something like that. You can't do that with Ethereum. You can't do that with Bitcoin. You can maybe do it with
Solana, AVAX.
Yeah, that's better. That's better. Hey, that's better. Micropayments are where it's at. That's an actual utility that these coins can have to actually solve a problem is micropayments. And most of the platforms don't do it. BTC certainly doesn't do it. And it will probably not in the foreseeable future be able to do it. It's been.
No, you have to look at the bigger picture, though, right? We need BTC like that walk so we can run, right? Like that's like the reserve asset where like people can like get loans and leverage this asset.
You need BTC as a poster child for the industry.
Well, you can leverage BTC as an asset.
You think you can get? You think
reserve asset for?
You think you can get a legitimate loan with BTC? You really believe that? Have you seen what the price of Bitcoin has done in the last couple of months? It's gone from like $50,000 to $100,000. Can you imagine a business who takes a loan in BTC and now he owes double the amount of BTC? He's going to go.
Well, that just shows how early we are. Right?
That's what MicroStrategy is doing.
Lending
taking loans against your BTC.
Like I'm not gonna lie, GoodTexture. I heard people like you talking at like 27K in 2021, right?
I'm sorry. What was your point? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What'd you say? I didn't catch that.
Oh, I was just saying, like I've heard your talking point in like 2021 where BTC was like 27K, right?
What talking point? What are you talking about? What talking point?
Well, like it's like you're kind of like anti-crypto, but like that's kind of like the fundamentals of why we're even here, right? Like we're all like I love Paul Shane, like Richard Hart. I invested not even in like Hex or whatever. I invested in Hex, than Pulse Chain because of Rich Air. Because when he was streaming, he's literally really, really smart. Like, I've never seen him lose a debate.
Yeah,
right?
have you not seen him debate me? Because he lost that one.
I've never seen him lose a debate. I've never seen him lose a debate.
He lost the debate with me.
Please put
Wait,
it.
wait. That's a stream. That was on YouTube.
What was the
Post that on
debate
YouTube.
about?
Post that in the chat. Post that in the chat.
What was it about?
I've never seen him lose a debate, and that's why I invested, because I'm like,
he lost.
This guy's smart. I want exposure to that.
I destroyed him. I absolutely destroyed him on Discord.
Really?
That's where I know you from. I think. I think. Yeah.
That's when
Can you post it?
That's when I got exiled from the Hex community. He went, blocked me from Telegram, blocked me from Twitter, and told everybody in the community to block me because he couldn't defeat my arguments.
What was your argument?
Was that when
like Richard is really smart though?
My
he
argument
would pre-mine a contract 99.99%. You'd still buy it. Remember that?
What happened?
He told you that he would pre-mine a contract 99.9999%, and he said you would still buy it. That's one I saw back.
Who, me?
I don't remember that. I believe you.
Talk about yeah, it was you.
Y'all were talking about
girl.
Yeah, I would have to rewatch it. I don't remember.
I don't know, man. Richard was really smart, man. Like, he's really smart.
Oh, he is smart. He's incredibly smart, but there are holes in his theories. That he's not bulletproof.
Bro, he has like a bunch of just steady, lads. Steady.
Oh, that's great. Pump our bags. That's fine. But he's not bulletproof.
No, like, seriously. That's why everything's pumping, man. Like, ETH is going up.
Great.
You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna all be kind of whole.
Send it to the moon. But we're having a theological discussion here. But outside of the theological discussion, please send it to the moon. That's great.
Well, like, what's your theological discussion? Because it's like number go up. Like, I heard people like you talk about that in 27K. We're at 90K, right? So it's like can you outperform that?
Talk too much, bro. How do you destroy Richard? What you say?
So he was talking about this coin, which, again, this was not a good move on my part. This was, y'all remember the guy that made Staker app, Steph? Well, in the background.
Yeah, that shit failed.
In the background.
Wait, GoodTexture, when was this?
This was like 2020. And then this was like August of 2020. And in the background, this guy, I've not talked about this because I kept it secret, but since then he's kind of screwed the community, so I don't really care to keep his secrets anymore. So in August of 2020, he was dumping the hell out of the hex price and trading for this coin called Ampleforth to get into the Ampleforth geyser at the time. And he was telling me how revolutionary this thing was going to be and it was going to change the world and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, interesting, cool. You know, I got some into it, and I took some damage from that trade. And Richard was upset that I was tweeting about Ampleforth, which is understandable because he believed that it was a garbage coin. And looking back, I think he was right. But the part where he was wrong is the arguments that he was making against Ampleforth, which some of them were valid, of course. The arguments he was making against Ampleforth were not were able to be perfectly applied towards Hex. Every argument that he made against Ampleforth would equally apply against Hex. And I would tell him that. I would say, look, the argument that you just volleyed at this Ampleforth coin applies just the same to Hex and every other crypto. And he got really mad and he started cussing at me on stream. He's never cussed at people really on streams, but he started cussing at me and calling me names and stuff like that because I really pointed out the logical fallacies in what he was saying. And to this day, I've never seen anybody really point out that he was committing logical fallacies in such a way as in that video. And to this day, I've never seen it.
And I think that was probably around the last time I saw you.
It was
about the Ampleforth time period, because Ampleforth was this coin that I think it was like a Harvard professor had created it, and he was trying to make it stay stable around $1. And every time it would go below $1, you bet that it was going to go back up. So you could buy it at like 76 cents, ride it back up, sell it. Sometimes it would go above $1. Am I thinking of the same project?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, that's the same project.
It was called it was called a rebase every time it did.
Yeah, the rebase tokens.
Every day it would rebase. And so Steph, he was thinking that this was, this rebase system was going to be successful. And Richard was vehemently opposed to the idea, and he thought it was stupid. And I think he was right. I think he was right in that the Ampleforth rebase system was stupid, and it ultimately did suffer pretty serious losses. But the point was that a lot of the arguments that he was making, now he had some distinct arguments against Ampleforth that were correct and couldn't be applied to Hex, but a lot of the arguments he was making, you could easily just turn back around and say, oh, well, that argument applies exactly towards Hex in the same way. So it's not really a good argument if you're trying to defend Hex and the arguments that you're making also apply to Hex. And I don't remember the exact arguments. They're in the video. I don't remember the exact arguments that he was making that could be turned back around on Hex. But every time I would turn them back around and say, okay, so Hex is also this, he would get continually more and more frustrated. And to this day, I've never seen him frustrated like that, ever.
So Hex has leadership, though.
Good. It needs it. Crypto needs leadership. This decentralized pipe dream is not real. It's stupid.
That's like a fail safe, right?
It's not necessarily a fail-safe so much as it is clarity and direction. You've got to have somebody to say which fork is the master. That's the Achilles heel of crypto is infinite forking, infinite copies. And if you don't have a master dictator to tell everybody which code is correct, which code is the real one, then you just got just madness and it just doesn't work. I mean, we've seen what happens when you don't have a master. We've seen what happens when you don't have someone to direct everything. You get a bazillion forks, and all of the liquidity that's in the originals starts bleeding out into the other forks because people are chasing the green candles, and it's easier to get a green candle on a tiny liquidity coin. So you just keep forking, chasing green candles, and eventually you just got like the heat death of crypto. So when we have people like Michael Saylor or Fluffy Pony for Monero or Zuko for Zcash or Richard Hart for Hex, you've got somebody there to try and corral in the craziness and keep the liquidity in a single place, because otherwise the liquidity is going to leak out all over the floor, and that defeats number go up, and it all falls apart. So for that reason, benevolent dictators, in my opinion, are a great thing. They're necessary and not something to be looked down upon. I mean, Vitalik Buterin with Ethereum, I can't even imagine where Ethereum would be without him to tell everybody what's what. They would have almost no advancement. It would be silly.
So I was listening to the space that was recorded from last night. You guys did 4.5 hours, almost 5 hours, I think. Thanks for doing that for the community, and thanks for recording it, Trap. But Trap asked you in the beginning, like, how is it that you got involved with the Hex community? However, for some reason, conversation kind of went somewhere else, and you never answered that. I'm just kind of wondering.
Your question is, how did I get involved in the Hex community?
Well, I mean, like, yeah, like, how did it come about? Your eyes were on Reddit, or your eyes were where, whenever it is that you saw that Richard was creating the Hex token? And
so the reason I got into Hex is because everybody hated it. So I was on. I like to. I hate to say contrarian because it's not a very contrarian thing to use the word contrarian anymore because it's been kind of mainstreamed a little bit. But I was scrolling Twitter back in April of 2020, and I had known about Richard Hart. I had seen his videos in the past, and frankly, I thought he was a very smart guy. I had watched some of his videos about just life. He has life tips and things like that, not just crypto related, but just life related lessons. And I found some value in those, and I remembered his name. And I had no idea that he had made a crypto. But then in 2019, I'm scrolling Twitter, and all I'm seeing is scam, scam, scam. Everybody calling it a scam. And I saw that it was made by Richard Hart, this guy that I had some previous respect for. And I thought, this is wild. So I look at the chart, and it's up 70% in a day. I think it was like April the 18th of 2020, April the 19th, something like that. And I start looking into the coin, and I become totally obsessed with it. It triggered my obsession in the same way that Bitcoin did around the beginning of 2013. It was just something in me that said, you need to look at this. There's something to this. And I kept digging and kept digging. And I was like, man, this is the coolest Ponzi scheme I've ever seen. That was the original tweet that I made. I said, hey, I've got another Ponzi scheme to get you guys in on. And to this day, I don't know whether it's a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme, a greater fool scheme, whatever. It's hard to nail down the exact definitions of what those mean. But at the end of the day, I think that's what it is to a degree, or maybe it's more accurately a casino token or a lottery token or a dream token. This is a theological debate that we had very good discussion on last night, and it may be more accurate to call it a casino token or a lottery token, because you don't call casinos Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes. That's not exactly what they are. They sell dreams. Casinos sell dreams. That's what Hex is. Hex is a dream, a promise almost that you will have a dream. That's what it is. That is the utility in Hex. But anyway, so
and you'd say that's the factor that's kept you in. Obviously, I'm speculating that you may have held throughout the bear market and stuff like that, but any reason, any particular factor as to why you've, I'm speculating, stuck around?
Yeah, and I'll tell you the only reason I've stuck around, and I've said this from I've said this from whoever said that, I've said this from day one, that when you enter the Hex staking system, you marry the system. It is not you cannot but budget with your emotional whims. If you change your mind tomorrow and decide that all cryptos are against your religion, well, tough. You've got two options. You either wait it out or you nuke it, and nuking it is not an option. So the key is to wait it out. That being said, I still enjoy it. I enjoy crypto. I understand crypto. I understand low level C programming, C blah blah blah. All this stuff was an old Bitcoin miner, blah blah blah. I understand how all this stuff works. So I have an expertise in it. I like it. I like casinos. I like lotteries. I like dreams. Everything about crypto, I like it. The difference is I'm honest about what it is. And it sounds to me like a lot of you guys in here are also honest about what it is, from as evidenced by the talk we had last night, where a lot of people agreed that it's a casino or a lottery token. Cool. So I'm honest about what I think it is. People who think that it's going to be used to lay the foundations for a worldwide financial system, I think are grossly mistaken. I think that people who think that Bitcoin can ever be used as a money are grossly mistaken for a lot of economic reasons that we're probably not going to get into. All of those are pie in the sky dreams. And that's fine, because that adds to the casino token, that adds to the pump. Whatever. If people want to have all these dreams about how they're going to underlie their entire financial system with hex tokens that I don't know what the throughput is on Pulse Chain, but it's definitely not high enough to support any type of worldwide economic system. That's fine. People want to dream about it. That's fine. At the end of the day, I think it's fun. I'm actually glad that I still have all the stakes that I have. It's a non-negligible amount of money. So that makes it exciting for me, because it can actually, it's actually worth something. So yeah, that's why I'm in it. I enjoy it, and it's fun to watch a number go up.
Yeah, you said yesterday that I'm sorry to just repeat what your recording said, but you said that you probably would have sold your encapsulated stakes had they been encapsulated, but instead they were natives.
Yeah, that's a fact. I used to have I had 200 Bitcoins one time, and I found a reason to sell those. If you think about something like that hard enough, you can find a reason to sell it. I can find a reason to sell all of the stakes, or all of the hex. If they were liquid, I could find a reason to sell it. I had a whole bunch of XRP at one time that today, if I don't know if y'all have seen, XRP pumped a lot. That would be worth a great deal of money right now. But I found a reason to sell it. I never found a reason to hit that emergency in stake button, for two reasons. Number one, these things, they have some type of acceleration built into them. So every day that you don't hit the in stake button, you receive some type of gamma acceleration factor. So the amount of money that I'm going to make tomorrow by not hitting the button is greater than if I had hit the button today. So every single day that you don't hit the button, you're accelerating your increase in gains. That's really powerful. And that is probably the main reason why I've never hit it. And if it hadn't been for that, I probably would have. It's so easy. It's so easy to just sell liquid coins. You just dump it and you're done. You don't have to think about it anymore. You don't have to check the price ever again. It's gone. But when you've got that acceleration factor that's constantly paying you, and like I can emergency in-stake right now, but if I wait until tomorrow, it's going to be worth a little more. If you keep waiting and keep waiting and keep waiting, it's just going to accelerate. So the difference with today's like November 29th or November 30th, the amount of money that I made today on November the 30th is smaller, assuming that the hex price remains perfectly constant, is smaller than the amount of money that I'm going to make on November 30th, 2025. And that's a really big incentive to hold it. And that's why it's such a tragedy that nobody is staking is, you know, we're going to really, I know people don't necessarily like Richard's showing off, but there's got to be some type of showing off to separate culturally the people who stake from the people who don't stake. We've got to be able to talk more about this acceleration factor that the people who aren't staking are missing out on, because they're y'all know this, I'm preaching to the choir, but that is the real deal with all of this, and is the staking. And to not have as many staking as they could be is really a tragedy. And I think the encapsulated stakes are a tragedy. I think it's a total tragedy on the system. I think that it would be funny if Pulse Chain was made to break the encapsulated staking systems, to be honest. They remove so much of the game theory. They yeah, all I know how to say is it's a tragedy.
So when you go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm blabbing at this point.
Well, when you started talking about that, I started thinking like, good thing encapsulated staking didn't happen before Big Payday.
Yes, exactly right. Because I would probably not be here. If I had encapsulated stakes, I probably would have found a reason to get out. But here's the funny thing.
But what I'm saying is, Big Payday bonuses then go with that encapsulated stake, which is a huge amount of inflation that we're all facing.
Is it that huge though, since the OA took such a massive chunk of it?
Yeah, it's 60% added to your stakes at least.
Okay, and 60. We were originally calculating it was going to be,
and it also
300.
It keeps people from stopping their stakes, from ending the stakes early.
The encapsulated staking does?
No, the Big Payday.
Yeah,
because if you cancel a stake with a Big Payday, you lose all the Big Payday.
And that's another great point. That's
even if you have 1 day left.
Yeah,
you lose it.
It just deletes Big Payday as if it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so it makes people think twice about it.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a really great point. And I feel like I don't think that in the 2030s, let's just say, it would be absolutely miraculous if Hex can somehow hold 2 cents. To me, that would be a beyond successful project, because
that's what I've been telling these people this whole time. Like, could you imagine just 5 cents forever just staying there?
Yeah, just to hold 5 cents,
man, dude,
it's going to require a massive amount of economic energy just to hold that.
This guy gets it.
Yeah, but to go to $1 and stay there is just absolutely,
I know, right?
Ungodly.
Yeah,
it's fucking incredible. I don't know that it can go up there and stay there, but if it can stay above a penny or two, that's going to be just unbelievable. Just because of the amount of in stakes that are going to happen. But here's what's going to happen in the 2030s, though. I think that, and you all know this, the encapsulated stakeholders are not diamond-handed like the real stakers. Like, look at me. I was forced into diamond heads, and I'm glad about it now. And now I'm so glad now that I was forced to hold those stakes, that now that I have the ability to end stake, I don't want to do it, because I cannot tell you the amount of regret that I would feel right now looking at those green candles and looking at that gamma acceleration or whatever the heck is going on with that system, where every day the gains just accelerate on top of the price movement. If I had ended that, I would just be just really upset about that right now. Whereas the encapsulated stakers, they can do whatever they want. They can get rid of it and kick it to the curb, and they can face those regrets easily. Whereas I've had what four and a half years now to think about these stakes, and now that I can get rid of them, I don't want to. I've already held them this long. I don't need the money really. So what am I going to do with the money? I'm not going to buy a Lambo. I don't want a Lambo. What the fuck am I going to do with it?
So, but are you down? Are you down?
Am I down on Hex?
Like on well, obviously liquidity split, but God, I just wanted you to speak on that.
God, no. I bought back when it was like at 001 or something. I mean, it's up. It's up from where I got into it. Wildly so. I mean, it's up. God, I don't even know. It's stupid. It's stupid how much up it is.
So Hex changed your life?
No, I haven't touched it. I don't use it. I work a regular job. I don't touch it. I don't.
You never realized any gains at all, like even during the last bull run?
Back in 2020, yeah, I did. But in 2021 during the bull run, I didn't touch it. Diamond.
So it didn't change your life?
No, I haven't done anything with it. It's still sitting there. I don't touch it. I
don't want to say it changed my life. Like it changed.
But your realized gains, that didn't change your life? Like that chunk of change you sold or whatever?
No, I mean,
obviously you don't have to get into that because of privacy issues, but
I mean, not
you realize something.
Yeah, I mean, change my life.
Financial freedom is he's what he's getting to.
I've
when he means like change your life, financial freedom.
Y'all have seen what I own. Y'all have seen the cabin that I have. It's free. It's paid for. I don't have to pay bills out there. I in 2020 I took enough profit to not do anything silly with. We're talking less than I don't want to say numbers, but nothing significant. But what I'm sitting on now is I mean, I'll just tell you, if X goes to $1, that's life, absolutely life changing, beyond a shadow.
So we're kind of on the same plane, right? Like I put money last bull run, not from X, but I guess net value, my Hex stakes up down. But Pulse Chain, I'm still kind of down, but that's like where I'm kind of like a lot of economic energy I see is like, Pulse Chain might just rip, right? And then that's when we go to Hart's Law, right? Because everything's kind of denominated in pulse, right? And the liquidity of the base asset kind of just lifts all, like rising tide lifts all boats, right? But I guess when it comes to Hex, I'm like an average Joe. Like I didn't buy at the top, but I'm kind of net down, right?
And if I was in that situation, I would probably be upset about it. I might have.
Well, I'm not upset, but
I might have rage quit.
Like, you know what I mean?
I might have rage quit or something like that. Like Hex is my largest investment in life right now by a wide margin. Like it
well, I'd say you fucked up, man.
Wait, so when you mean largest investment, as how much you put in, or how much it's grown?
As of how much it's worth now. Like I don't.
Okay.
I don't even want it that much. Like it's over. I'm way overexposed. I don't even want it, but I can't do anything with it because I can't in-stake it because
well, you could, right?
No, you can't. No, you can't because you're going to throw away the gamma.
Yeah, he already said that. Like, let's get in-staking early out of our heads, guys. He's already said that. That's not even a question.
And when I say gamma acceleration, I'm using that as a reference to derivatives markets because that's what it's called in the derivatives.
But it's always an option. Richard Hart put it there for a reason, right?
It's not an option if you have a brain.
Well, it is an option, right? That's the code.
Not real. I mean, yes, but not. You'd have to be an idiot to throw away the gamma acceleration.
Well, that's the code, right? If you need liquidity, that's the code, right?
I don't need it. I don't. I'd work at McDonald's before I got rid of that.
Dude, I said the same thing. I would rather sleep under a bridge than end-stake early.
It's a dream token, guys. The reason I got into it is because I'm like you. I love dreams. Don't you want a dream?
This guy gets it.
You
Dude,
want to
for
trade.
real,
You've been at,
I
bro.
like
You've
your
been
good
making spaces
texture.
for
You
like
you
2
really
years.
get it. You understand, like you really get it. Because when
So
I was introduced to Hex,
Kindred
I looked
Spirit.
at it from a savings from a CD. That's how he pitched it originally. I had a good amount of money in CDs and I wasn't seeing any return. So I immediately took that money out of my CD and invested it into Hex. And that was the one of the second, maybe the best decision I've ever made in my entire life.
And then you have a dream. You wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, you know what? There's a possibility this thing does a 100x. Can you imagine what I would do with a 100x gain on top of that? That's a dream token, and that's what it fundamentally is a dream token. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Casinos do it every day. Lotteries do it every day. And that's what we're doing with Hex.
I think it's the best dream token.
I think you're right, and I've said that from day one. Bitcoin is no longer a dream token. These guys are wetting their pants over a 2x. It's silly. It's silly. The only gains in Bitcoin now are buying derivatives on MicroStrategy. If you want an actual gain, you're gonna have to go buy an
But you
option.
got to take it easy on them, GoodTexture. You come off so harsh, though. I mean,
Yeah, I
you're a
disagree on
really
that,
likable
man.
guy, but you
I
come off
disagree on
so
that.
harsh. You're like the harsh parent. Like, look, man, why are you screwing over yourself for 2x? Anybody could do it.
Yeah,
2x.
bro. Like, I wouldn't be telling no one to like not invest in Bitcoin, but like,
I would.
like,
I would.
it's so early, bro. Like,
I would not tell anybody to invest in Bitcoin, no matter even
No,
though
I'm leaning towards that way because you're not going to see a significant return on like you're not really going to see life changing wealth
it's
investment
all
in
about
Bitcoin.
risk, though, right? When you have a portfolio, it's all about risk, right, and managing risk,
But
right?
there's
So it's
also
like,
less options. I mean, more options out there that's equally less risk or equally the same amount as Bitcoin. That
I
doesn't.
heard the same thing at 27K.
if you want to
Hey, Texture.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, hey, how about you shit on one of our dreams? As you mentioned earlier, you seemed really doubtful that it would gain that Hex and the staking protocol. I totally agree with you. That was the reason I've stuck around, because it's simply magnificent for a lot of other reasons. Everyone has their favorites, but just fundamentally, that's why it being solid and always working. So just curious why you don't seem very optimistic that it might get some legitimacy in the traditional financial instruments or markets, or be part of a hedge fund. I would guess that'd probably be the ultimate goal. Of course, it's probably going to be the volatility of the price, and other factors like that.
Define what you're saying, because Bitcoin has become pretty well entrenched in what I would call traditional finance. So define if you consider Bitcoin to be part of traditional finance.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, with it being in ETFs right now, I think that's
okay.
That's
so
where it's gotten its legitimacy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Hex can absolutely do that. Hex can do anything that Bitcoin is doing right now. It's totally possible. What I think is impossible is for these cryptocurrencies, these unbacked, privately issued cryptocurrencies, is to become a bedrock foundation of economic function. Now, can you have a Hex? Yeah, can you have a Hex ETF? Can you have Hex derivatives? Can you have Hex options chains and all this kind of stuff? Can you have a MicroStrategy version of Hex that you can lever up to the gills and have all these kind of pools and everything and buy them on Wall Street? Yeah, you can do all of that. That's totally possible, and I would not doubt that for a millisecond. What you can't have, I could be wrong, but I do fundamentally believe that you cannot have Bitcoin or Hex as a bedrock foundation of a financial system in the same way that the US dollar is. I don't think that's possible. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's possible.
Just serving as a speculative instrument.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Yeah, and it can do everything that Bitcoin does, if not more so, because Hex has some advantages that Bitcoin doesn't have. The Bitcoin hard cap is an economic doomsday machine. It is a mistake. It was a mistake from day one. Bitcoin is ultimately going to necessarily have to raise that limit. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. It's economic doomsday machine. Richard Hart knew that. That's why he added in 3.69% inflation, which is a pretty sweet spot. The governments choose 2%. He chose 369. It's within the realm of legitimacy. He knew what he was doing when he chose that. So from that perspective, Hex has a lot going for it. It's got the Rube Goldberg machine locking system, to use Richard's favorite phrase there. His own Hex system is a Rube Goldberg machine. But at the end of the day, it's something, it's interesting, and people seem to think that it somehow represents a CD. So as long as they think that it does, then that's, it's got some legitimacy to it. So from that perspective, anything that Bitcoin is doing as far as integration into the mainstream financial system, whether it be ETFs, ETPs, being held by MicroStrategy, whatever, Hex can do all of that, if not more. Especially because you don't have the forking problem. There's all types of clauses in these ETFs regarding Bitcoin because they know that it has the potential to fork, and that can cause all these issues. Well, yeah, Hex did that with the new chain, but you've got a benevolent dictator that told everybody what's the real chain. So the problem is solved. So long story short, yes, Hex can do anything that Bitcoin is currently doing. No, I don't think that it can be a bedrock of the financial system in the way that the US dollar is.
So the only thing I have with that statement is when you said he meant it like a CD. I extremely remember him saying it is a digital CD. Like that's why he created it.
Yeah. So here's how CDs are supposed to work. In the traditional financial system, when you get paid interest on a CD, it is because someone went out into the world. This is how it's supposed to work. Now, again, don't get me on the nitpicky details. I know that a lot of components of the mainstream financial system are also Ponzi-like in nature. Let's set that aside and talk about.
Yeah, no, you can just give the general overview.
Yeah, the general overview of how things are supposed to work. You take your money, you go to the bank, you deposit in the CD. The bank loans that money to a productive individual. They loan that money to a plumber, they loan that money to a pizza place, whatever, and they go out and actually produce something. And then they pay that interest on their loan that they generated by selling pizzas to people or whatever. They take that profit, they give it back to the bank, and the bank gives it to you. There's no production in Hex. It's just printed. There's no productive capacity. There's no making society better. When you actually loan your money to a bank, you are making society better because the money that you loan is going to go start up a pizza place or a Tesla factory. If you think that's a good thing, it might not be, but it's gonna be used to create something. Well, in Hex, when you lock your money into a CD, it's not going to produce anything. It's just burned. No productive capacity has been added to anything anywhere. So from that perspective, it's only a pseudo certificate of deposit. Yeah, it's locked up and blah blah all that. But the point of the CD was to add productive capacity to the economy. Hex doesn't do any of that. So that was the point there.
So when you say the productive capacity of is when you stake it, it's removed from the market, and then when you claim it, it's recreated into the market.
It's recreated, and you are only making a profit by cashing out into somebody else who bought behind you. It's just a pyramid scheme. I mean, it's very straightforward. There's no pizza place that took those coins and made some pizzas and generated a profit and then gives your money back to you. You are simply expanding your piece of the network and cashing out on top of whoever came in after you. That's all it is. It's just a pyramid scheme. And I know people hate to hear that, but that's all it is.
But it's the same as the US dollar in the current banking system. So
I was about to
excess
say,
inflation is used out as loans.
Let's take it easy on the
that
pyramid
same
scheme
potential.
talk.
Yeah, people don't like it when I say pyramid, Ponzi, greater full scheme.
Because you can look at anything in the world as a freaking pyramid scheme.
I mean,
if you look hard enough.
Look at Tesla. Tesla.
Dude, I was about to say, why you shitting on Tesla?
I mean, let's be honest. Tesla is probably a pyramid scheme. Are there any earnings? Let's think about all these companies out there that don't have earnings at all. They actually burn money, and see, at least Hex isn't burning money. So from that perspective, it's actually a better system than a lot of these zombie companies. Think about a zombie company out there that has negative EPS. They're just burning cash through lighting it on fire. At least Hex doesn't light it on fire. Guess what does light money on fire? Bitcoin. Bitcoin lights enormous, enormous amounts of money on fire. Can you think about what the Bitcoin price would be if people weren't setting their money on fire to run these mining machines? It's pure
But hold
stupidity.
on. I was a Bitcoin miner. I ran a
Stupidity.
pretty
Yeah,
good big
I was
farm.
too.
So
I
yes,
was
it takes
too.
a lot of capital.
Yeah, I did it too. I had an entire bedroom full of homemade GPU units back when you could actually mine Bitcoin with GPUs, and I didn't use my heater that winter. I used the GPUs
Exactly.
to heat my
Yes. I
house.
just mined Bitcoin and it produced the heat. Yes.
So
Exactly.
let's think about it from that perspective. Hex is at least neutral because Bitcoin is lighting money on fire. Tesla is probably lighting money on fire. All these other companies probably lighting money on fire. At least Hex doesn't light any money on fire. It's free. Maybe it's got a couple of servers here and there. What are they called? Nodes or whatever? I don't know what they are. But they're not really lighting that much money on fire. Bitcoin is. So at least Hex is a massive, massive improvement over that. And it's a massive improvement over the zombie companies that do nothing.
And there's a potential that such efficiency might become the bedrock of a society. I mean, and going back to the argument, I agree. It kind of sounds ridiculous that an Excel sheet that just works really well and being honest might serve it. But I mean, with let's say the talks of a Bitcoin reserve coming in, and let's say by some miracle it's used to back the dollar again and reverse what happened in 1971.
So
that might be a bedrock.
So I get what you're saying, and it's a good line of thought to have, and I think that ultimately that thought would have some basis for validity, except we have a volatility problem, and I don't think the volatility problem can be solved. Maybe it could, but I don't think that there's a stable enough demand for lottery tickets and casino tokens and dream tokens that demand has to have some type of hard stabilization, and without it you've got a volatility problem that won't go away. I mean, they've been experimenting with Bitcoin for 15 years now, and the volatility problem is still so far away from anything that could ever possibly use for productive capacity. You can't make loans in Bitcoin. You've got pizza places that profit margins are maybe 10%. That means if the Bitcoin price goes up 10%, they're bankrupt. You can't run loans off of something like that. There's got to be volatility stabilization, and I just don't see a mechanism for it. I would argue that it's probably not possible to stabilize these coins due to the nature of what they are. They're nothing. They're nothing backed by nothing, and they're a promise to pay people nothing. And due to that, I don't think that they can be stabilized, and therefore you can't have a bedrock financial asset with because of that.
It's already a financial asset. It's already on balance sheets on the S&P 500, right?
Well, say the beginning again.
I would say it was already a financial asset or entrenched as a financial asset because there's companies on the S&P 500 that has like immense amount of liquidity when you look at core contracts, and then you have derivatives, right?
Yeah, but the S&P 500 is not a bedrock financial asset. It's not a current.
Well, that's like the U.S. market, right?
But it's not a bedrock foundational element of a financial system. It's just a stock market. But people want to conflate Bitcoins and all these other tokens as if they're somehow going to be money. They're going to be bedrock financial assets that the entire economy is built on. You're talking about the S&P 500. No economy is built with the S&P 500 as their foundational element. It's just it's a stock market.
That's fundamentally wrong, right? Because the risk-free rate is based off of what you can get returned in the normal market.
No, that's based on what you can get from the bond market. It's not the stock market. The bond market is absolutely the foundation.
And what sets the bond market?
The Federal Reserve sets the bond market. That is the foundational element of our advanced civilization is the bond market. That is it. The bond market is simply it is simply a yielding dollar. So the dollar is a bond. It's a zero yielding bond is all the dollar is. The bond market is just a promise for dollars in the future. That is the foundational element of our entire financial system, not the S&P 500. It's the bond market. Bond market is everything. And I don't think Bitcoin or Hex or anything can replace it. I've studied this for years and thought about and talked to people that understand this stuff even better than I do. And our consensus opinion is that Bitcoin absolutely can't do it. Now, if you had a crypto token like PaxG, which is backed by something like gold, or hell, it can be backed by something, anything, steel, anything. It's got to be backed by something that has some.
Bitcoin's a new gold, though.
No, it's not. It's not.
How old are you? Were you around when like gold was like $500 an ounce?
Was I alive? Yes, I was alive when gold was $500 an ounce. Yeah.
So it's like $2,000 plus, right?
No, it's the same price as it was then. The dollar is simply lost value. Gold does not move in price ever. Gold is the same price that it's always been. It's the financial system around it that is constantly shifting. Gold.
So what's the new gold? It's Bitcoin, right?
No, gold is not Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is not gold at all. It has nothing in common with gold whatsoever.
It's better than gold, right?
Not at all. Has nothing in common.
If demand goes up for gold, you can just go survey more gold, right?
So back to your original statement, there's literally nothing in common with gold and Bitcoin. They have nothing in common whatsoever. I mean,
exactly. I agree with you.
Yeah, they're totally different. And Bitcoin cannot serve the stabilization factors that gold gives. Bitcoin can't replicate it. It's not possible.
But anyways, like I just want to look at you, like look at the crypto market total market cap.
What about it?
So Bitcoin's just passed the Canadian dollar, so it's over Australia, New Zealand. So
yeah,
it's like it's the decentralized payment rate plus digital gold.
It's not digital gold at all.
Immense value.
There's no value in it. It's nothing. There's nothing there. Maybe people realize it. Maybe they don't. We will see.
We're just so early, right?
No, we're very late. Bitcoin is probably. It doesn't have a lot. I don't think it has a lot left in it. I could be wrong. It could go to 10 million. It's possible. But there's not fundamental value there. It's speculative. It's a dream token. It's a lottery token. It's no different than buying lottery tickets. There's not fundamental value there. I don't think there ever will be. Now, what does have fundamental value is these, what are they called? Tokenized assets. You tokenize real estate, you tokenize gold, silver, steel, copper, whatever, coffee beans. That has fundamental value. And that is potentially where this is all going to go eventually. I think that it's possible that one day people will look back and say, y'all really had blockchain assets that were unbacked by absolutely nothing. You mean they were just literally air? They weren't even air. At least air has value. They were nothing but electrons in a computer. I think people are going to laugh at us.
Can I ask you a question?
Any question you want.
Okay. I agree with you. Like real world assets, that's the next big thing because institutions are already here. Look at AVAX. I'll just leave it at that. They're building some great stuff. But this blockchain technology, it's like the internet. If the internet had a token, the value accrued, like you have Apple and so many companies that were built off like the internet. Like we're so lucky because we have blockchain technology that's consensus. Like it really doesn't. Like, I agree with you. Like it's just nothing. It's a meme coin. But we have consensus where people like retirement funds, countries, El Salvador, people like companies on the S&P 500 are putting it on this balance sheet. Like Trump is pro crypto. It's really one of those things you have to look at. Okay, say everything fails. If Bitcoin fails, you're kind of bearish on the whole market. That's going to take everything down, right? But okay, say these payment rails or real world assets take off. What is their store of value on chain? It's Bitcoin, right? At the end of the day, you have stable coins, but at the end of the day, there's this one asset that just happened to be the first mover is this Bitcoin thing. That's this on-chain asset to store value, right? So I just think it's the writings on the wall, and I think we have to be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I mean that's there's plenty of room for optimism. I don't think that Bitcoin stores value though. I don't think that it can drop from 100,000 to 90,000 in a day and be a store of value.
But what's your time horizon though?
A day. It dropped 10% in a day.
But if I talked to you in 2015, right? I don't know what was Bitcoin, like 100 something or 500
it was
something?
between 100 and 500.
And it dropped like I remember it dropped from like 100 to like 20 something.
Not in 2015, no. But regardless of what the price was.
Anyways, long story short, I was just saying like, okay, there's volatility, but if your time horizon is not long enough, you could kind of wreck yourself, right?
Yeah, but real financial systems can't operate that way. You can't see the advanced civilization is based on loans. That is what runs everything. People want to talk about how loans and interest and stuff like that are bad. No, that's the literal everything that we use today was built off of loans.
That's how you know you're early.
But you can't operate off.
That's how you know you're early, right?
You can't operate off of Bitcoin loans. It's too volatile.
Okay, how old are you? Were you around when Apple and Amazon were like in the tech bubble? Could you leverage your stock portfolio and get a loan on your stock portfolio if it was all Apple or Amazon? Probably not in 20.
You can, but
back then.
Probably you can. Yeah, probably you can, but you can get liquidated. Exactly. A pizza shop doesn't want to take out a loan that they can get liquidated on. That's
exactly. Run a business. But right now, if you had like $20 million in Apple stock, it's rare. Like, look at Warren Buffett. He's one of the biggest holders, right?
No, he sold it. He's selling all of that garbage.
But I was just telling you, like, historically, right? Like, he had a really large position, and obviously, like, Apple wasn't as volatile as it was 20 years ago.
It's just as volatile. It hasn't. You're making the false assumption that Bitcoin volatility is going to go down over time, and it hasn't happened.
It will.
Years. No, it hasn't happened. We have seen no evidence of it. Show me a single chart that outlines Bitcoin falling volatility towards anything even remotely sane. It hasn't happened. Bitcoin is still incredibly volatile. It hasn't stabilized. People said in the early days back in 2012, 2013, 2010 even, they're like, yeah, eventually Bitcoin's just going to stabilize. No, it's not. The only fundamental utilitarian demand for Bitcoin is number go up. It cannot become stable due to the very nature of what it is, which is nothing. It has not stabilized. It just moved 10% in the last couple of days. There's no stabilization. You can't run a financial system off of something that volatile.
It's early though.
No, it's not. It's been 15 years.
Bro, it's a financial system that's half the market cap of NVIDIA, which is one company.
It's been 15 years and there's been no stabilization. It cannot fundamentally be stabilized because it is nothing. You can't stabilize nothing. It's a fundamental flaw in the product itself. No, you can't because it's never been done. You're making an assumption.
That's all about market cap.
You're making an assumption that it can become stable, and it's never been done before. It's never been seen. It's never been demonstrated, ever. It's a religious belief that you have. It's never been done. If you want to have a religious belief, that's fine, but let's talk about what it is. It's a religious belief.
Do you know what market makers are?
And they still have not stabilized it because you have a religious belief that they can stabilize the price, and it's never been done. If it could be done, I'm with you. It'd be great. If we could somehow make these invisible Bitcoins the foundation of a financial system, that'd be awesome. You can store your money in your brain. That's great. Cool. Awesome. I don't think it can be done. I've seen no evidence for it. There is no evidence for it. If there was, I'd be open to what you're saying. But I've seen extremely intelligent people have the exact same conversation that we're having right now. I've seen debates of people who are much more intelligent than you or me, and they have the exact same debate that we're having right now. And the ultimate conclusion is that this thing cannot be stabilized. It's never been demonstrated.
Is gold stable?
Gold is stable. The dollar is not. It's more stable than Bitcoin though. And I'm not going to become an advocate or defend the dollar in any way, shape, or form. The dollar, as most of you know, is a deeply flawed system, and it's not permanent. It's not going to last forever.
Exactly, and I think it this way, like any type of asset you invest in, just because it's being depreciated against the dollar, at the end of the day, you're kind of gonna win. So it's like if you think Bitcoin is gonna go down, you're really, I guess, you're thinking the dollar's gonna outperform it.
I never said.
Like I'm trying to understand what your point is here.
I'm just answering your questions, and I never said that the dollar was going to outperform Bitcoin. Bitcoin is simply a dollar derivative. Bitcoin has no value outside of the ability to convert it into dollars. It is simply an extension of the dollar. That's all it is. And it is going to suffer ultimately as the dollar suffers. There's going to be a problem there because if you can't convert it into dollars, what can you do with it?
You can't print more Bitcoin though, right?
You can create an infinite number of cryptocurrencies that do the exact same thing as Bitcoin.
But it's not Bitcoin, right?
Doesn't matter. It does the same thing. That's again back to the Achilles heel of crypto, infinite forking. That's why it's such a big problem. There is no utilitarian. People want to say that Bitcoin is more secure. No, it's not. It's not more secure because they're burning an entire freaking solar system's worth of energy to run the thing. That doesn't make it more secure. It's just wasting energy. The Canadian truckers, they were sanctioned no matter how much electricity you burn. It's a flawed argument. Eventually, though, the dollar is going to experience more problems. We're not there yet, but it's going to. And with Bitcoin being a dollar derivative, it's going to have problems as well. That's all it's used for is converting dollars. There's literally no use for it otherwise. Gold has uses. Gold is massively used in jewelry. Silver has uses. Massive use in industry. Zinc, copper, nickel, all these other things, they have uses. Bitcoin has no use except converting into dollars. That's it. It's the only reason people want it is to get more dollars. It's not a bedrock.
That's all. That's what it's all about, though, right?
That's what Bitcoin's all about. That's not what finance is all about.
I'm in Canada, so we're front running you, right? Our dollar's been depreciated so hard, the most in the G7, right?
I don't know.
So we're kind of front running America, right?
You tell me. I don't keep up with the Canadian dollar.
Well, I just want to be honest with you. Like, I'm not some shithead. Like, just check my pinned tweet. Like, I've kind of done well for myself in this sector, and I'm not saying you're wrong. It's one of those things where like there's competing arguments, but it's like what other asset are we gonna hold? Like it's like, okay, you could be bearish on one asset. Like
bonds.
say you're really bearish on crypto
bonds. You want to hold bonds.
Bonds?
You want to hold bonds.
Okay.
We're
like from where? Like
from the US government.
Like
from the United States government. You want to hold United States government bonds. Yeah. We're about to see the greatest bond market in history.
See, I agree with still at the core, I'm still like the average Joe trying to like move.
Hey Timothy, you're holding your mic. You did something to your own mic.
Yo, what about bonds? Can you say that?
Yeah,
touch up on that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We're about to see the greatest. That's my that's my.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's my core thesis right now. I hold Hex for fun. It's a dream token. It's a casino token. It's a lottery token. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. But as far as actual investments that I believe in that have a sure or as close to a surefire bet that you can get is U.S. Government bonds. They have to go up. If they don't, why does that matter?
Are you like a boomer, like 50 plus, and have a lot of assets, and you're like all about wealth preservation?
No. This is about gains. This is about gains. I'm not talking about.
So, like, I guess, how did you like move? Like, were you born rich, or like, what was your like event that moved like change your life?
I never made a claim to that my life was any different from yours. I never made that claim.
This guy just keeps asking the same question.
Hey, could
pick this guy out.
Go ahead, Texture.
Yeah, I've never made a claim about my wealth. I mean, y'all have seen the house that I own. It's a shack. So I don't have any claims about who I am or being greater than or better than or worse than any of you.
That's all good, brother. What about those bonds?
Yeah, so bonds are about to go into the greatest, I think one of the greatest, and there's people that disagree with me.
Wait. So are you talking about because the Asian market dumped or bought back a bunch of US bond?
So that is a symptom of a deeper issue. There's liquidity problems. Um, that's why they're selling those bonds, is to raise liquidity, because there's problems in their system. Those are the beginnings of what we're going to see as one of the greatest bond market bulls, I believe, in history that's coming. You've got, and it's so incredible that Trump is coming in. You can Google me, in fact, check me on this. Google Trump negative interest rates, and it will come up. And he wants negative interest rates, and he has to have negative interest rates. There is no alternative. We are in a death spiral of sorts, and we have reached a marginal um, a marginal level of productivity, such that businesses right now are suffering deeply. You've got businesses that took out loans at low interest rates, and now their interest rates are higher on their loans, and they're getting absolutely crushed. If you know people who own hotels, who own real estates with mortgages that they have to pay, and all this kind of stuff, they're getting absolutely crushed. They're getting destroyed. And it's starting to catch up with the economy now. We're starting to see jobs numbers get really bad. They're going to get worse now that the election is over. They're going to stop massaging those numbers so much, and we're going to see the real state of the economy. And when those jobs numbers come out, the Fed is going to have their cue to cut interest rates again. And I firmly believe they're going to cut interest rates again to zero, as they've always done in this situation. There is no situation like what we have now, where they have not cut interest rates to zero. And not only are they going to cut to zero, I think they're actually going to go negative. And you can Google Trump wants negative interest rates. And this is actually an extremely bullish scenario for crypto. I'm talking the most absolute bullish scenario you could possibly have. The reason being is, what a negative interest rate is that is when the government charges you interest on your money. So right now, you have a US dollar flat paper bill note. It is a 0% interest debt instrument. When you buy a 30-year treasury bond, it is a 4% yielding treasury instrument. When you buy a 3-month treasury bill or note, or whatever they're called these days, when you buy that, they're like 4.5 or 4.7% interest yielding note. They want to take that negative. They really want to do this, and they're probably going to. And what that's going to mean is, how your bank right now, you'll notice that in the last several years, your bank has started paying you. They used to pay you 0% interest pre 2020. For years, they paid you 0% interest on your savings account. Now they were paying you 5, and the 5 has come down to about 4.5. The reason is because they're just slipstreaming treasury interest directly into your account. Well, eventually, probably very soon, what's going to happen is that number is going back to zero. Part of the reason why it's going back to zero is you have all these businesses that got addicted to the cheap interest rates, so they could run subpar businesses. So when you have 0% interest rates, you can open a really crappy business and still make a profit. But if you jack up interest rates like they've done, that really crappy business all of a sudden isn't profitable anymore, and it has to declare bankruptcy. And when you have an entire um, nation full of companies that took out all these really cheap interest rate loans, and they're all going bankrupt at the same time, then you start having cascading effects and problems, and you end up running into the potential for some type of economic turmoil, similar to what happened in 2008. You got the financial crisis, or you got a depression, or whatever you want to call it. You start having severe problems. So what are they going to do about it? they're going to slam rates to zero. They have to. They have to slam rates to zero. And if you Google Trump negative rates, Trump has already said he wants rates negative. So what does this mean? This means that the money that you have in your bank account, not only is it going to get eroded by inflation as it is right now, but it's going to get eroded by negative interest rates. Are they going to let crypto? This is something I toy with and think about. Is Trump changing the governing body from the SEC to the CFTC? Is that in order to lock down crypto so that people can't flee into it? Because I'll tell you what, if people are losing money out of their checking accounts, they're going to flee into crypto. There is a select amount of people in this country or in the world, they're going to exit their bank accounts into something. They're going to exit into gold, silver, um, or crypto. And it could be the most bullish scenario for crypto ever. That's what we're facing right now. It's absolutely incredible. But long story short, bonds are going to go to the freaking moon, because what happened? There's an inverse correlation there. So when interest rates go down, the value of the bond goes up. That's the inverse correlation right there. And bonds right now are just, in my opinion, they're incredibly cheap. And so if you take a leveraged bond instrument and it goes up in the time window that you think it's going to go up, you can potentially get crypto like gains on and something as boomerish, to quote whoever I was talking to. He asked me if I was a boomer because I'm talking about bonds. If you know how to properly buy a um, a leveraged derivative instrument on a bond, you can get crypto like gains on it. And I think that is ultimately going to be a more surefire bet than hoping that Richard Hart comes in and bails all of us out, because that's what we're hoping for. We know for a fact that the government is going to bail everything out. That's guaranteed. Is Richard Hart going to step in with the OA and pump everybody's bags? I don't know. It's a dream. Maybe it'd be great. Is every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the country going to come in and buy crypto? Maybe. It's a dream. When interest rates go to negative and they're trying to get yield on anything, maybe they do jump into crypto. But there's a risk there. I don't think there's risk in bonds. I think that it's almost guaranteed that they're going to pump the bonds. So that's why I'm interested in it. Sorry if I ranted too long there.
And in this scenario, it seems like risky assets are then going to be attractive, or
yeah, very attractive. They're going to be attractive because it's going to be better than having money literally stolen out of your bank account. What they want and what they have to do to achieve this, and we've been talking about how they're going to do this for years. Everybody is familiar with the cashless society narrative. That they, whoever they is, wants a cashless society. Everybody's familiar with this. The problem is, how do they implement it? And I tweeted the other day, I think that this is okay. Everything that I say from this point forward is going to be wildly speculative. The stuff I was saying about the bonds, I think, is pretty rational. The stuff I'm saying now is wildly speculative. So let's make that separation first. I think that something that Elon Musk has been appointed to do with his Department of Government Efficiency, his Doge Commission, he might be the one to get rid of paper currency. He might say that it's too inefficient, sorry, to print the stuff. A nickel, and there's good arguments for that. The amount of money required to print or to stamp out a nickel right now is 11 cents. It costs 11 cents to create a 5-cent nickel. It's extremely inefficient. So he has grounds to eliminate some of those coinage items, and he could probably take it into dollars and blah. Why is this important? This is important because if they do um, leverage negative interest rates, you can always escape into paper dollars. This is why, and this is a lot of people have talked about this. The European Central Bank, the IMF, this is a very well-known problem with the concept of negative interest rates, that people can flee into paper currency. So that is, in my opinion, the key reason why they want to eliminate paper currency, is so that they can levy negative interest rates. But here's the thing: if you've got all these cryptos, and people can escape into cryptos. Now, they're volatile, so is it really an escape? Who knows? But at least they can get into something, and it's relatively easy, and it's not a guaranteed loss. So if you've got a government that's levying negative 2% interest rates, you got $100 in your bank account, it's going to be $98 at the end of the year, not to mention whatever gets taken off the top with inflation. I don't think that we're facing any really serious inflationary pressures. Actually, quite the opposite. I think we're pretty well moving towards deflationary pressures, and that's a entire dollar milkshake theory discussion on its own from Santiago Capital. He's the main purveyor of that theory, and he's been right so far. Even Peter Schiff admitted it. But yeah, people could flee into crypto. It's certainly a possibility, and people talk about the original purposes of crypto and self-sovereignty and all these stuff. That is the scenario that crypto was created for. What did the Genesis block say? Banks bailed out something in 2009. Yeah, it was supposed to be some type of revolution against bank bailouts. Well, what's worse than bank bailouts? Instead of the bailouts, they're just going to take the money directly out of your account. That's like what Bitcoin was created for on steroids. That's even worse than what Satoshi was mad about, if assuming he was even mad at all and not the CIA or whatever. But that's just the perfect crypto scenario on steroids. So there's certainly the possibility that if and when, I don't know when they're going to get to negative interest rates. Zero is probably coming pretty soon. Zero, they did in 2020. They did it in 2008, 2009. There's a precedent for it. And I don't think, I think within a year or two, they'll have 0% interest rates. Negative interest rates is a little bit more speculative, and there's a lot more moving parts. They've got to get rid of cash, blah, 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 in order to do that. But if they can do it, you've got people that are going to want to escape that tax, that fee. And maybe crypto is going to be what they choose as an escape route. That's certainly possible.
I'd like to ask everybody to check the nest. I put a poll up there asking early hexicans what value did you hold in what asset before you transferred that into hex in the early days. Thanks.
What did you? Oh, okay. So you're asking what did people hold before? So if they were holding U.S. dollars, or if they were holding S&P 500 stock, or if they were holding real estate. I've talked to people that actually sold real estate for Hex. That was their transition vehicle. So that's probably going to be a very varied poll. Sorry to rant at y'all for so long. I know that was a lot of stuff there, but there's a lot to say. We live in crazy times, and it's about to get crazier.
So wait, it seems like people would. I think there's I'm blanking on the term, but when, let's say, banks officially remove someone from allowing themselves to own a bank account, I think it's. I just heard this term too. So it seems like people would unbanked. Yeah, I guess so. That sounds right. So it seems like people might actually just do this to themselves. I'm talking about like the everyday consumer or normal person. And I'm just curious at what dynamic that might lead to just a different type of bank that holds assets that aren't dollars anymore, or people become their own bank, much like how it was the dream of Bitcoin. There's just so many possibilities, really, or what the right move is mind-boggling.
I don't even know how an unbanked person would onboard or on-ramp into a crypto. It'd be pretty tough to, unless you're using those high-fee ATM machines or whatever. I can't think of another way to onboard without a bank account. It'd be tough.
Yeah, but that possibility is there. Yeah, just that high fees.
Just not in any size. They wouldn't be able to enter with any size unless they found some OTC guy like the old days, I guess. Which we used to do back on local Bitcoins. We used to meet each other at the freaking copy shop and sell each other Bitcoins for cash. That was the wild, wild, wild west back then.
Seems like a good chance that might happen again in your speculative scenario. I mean, Balins is a legislation that came out, and exactly, in case no one's heard of a Balin, it's exactly that to bail out the financial system or the U.S. government. They're permitted to take that out of bank accounts. So yeah, that's certainly a possibility.
It's a possibility, if not a guarantee. I don't see any way out.
Right.
I don't see any way out of it. There's the way things are going. It's an inevitability. It's not a question of if. It's a question of when. So people, if you're bored, it's you're not going to stay bored. It's going to get wild. It's definitely going to get wild, if not scary. I hope that it doesn't get scary. That's my hope. Maybe crypto can play a role. It would be really interesting to see a scenario where this would apply to people in other countries first, because the dollar is going to be the last to go. Let's assume you're in Japan and the yen. I don't know if y'all follow currency markets, but the Japanese yen has been wildly volatile for it's the third largest economy in the world, and their currency is trading like a crypto. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling. It's crazy. And when their currency eventually begins to falter and suffer, if there was going to be a flight to crypto, we're gonna have a front row seat to see what happens. The USA is going to be last. The dollar is going to be last to start suffering problems. You got all these people that talk about dollar collapse and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, eventually, but who knows when. There's gonna be signs, though. It's not, a lot of people, they like to fearmonger and say, oh, you're gonna wake up one day and your bank account's gonna be empty and all the dollars are. No, it's not happening. You're gonna wake up one day and maybe the Japanese yen has, lost some percentage of its value, or some other country that's less stable. Maybe even the the euro is probably not going to be one of the first to go. It's going to be one of the last to go, like the dollar. But maybe the Canadian dollar. You wake up one day and the Canadian dollar is seeing a lot of problems. We're going to be able to have a front row seat, though, to see what they do. Do those people flee into crypto? Is crypto what they are going to seek out as their life raft? It could be, and we're going to be able to see that. We're going to be able to see exactly what they do, and I imagine that whatever they do is going to be whatever people in the United States do eventually. And that could be 50 years from now. And who knows? It could be 100 years. Who knows? They can kick the can down the road. That's the point of the negative interest rates, is to kick the can down the road. That is the total point, is to continue to extend the life of the dollar. And it will work. It will do it. Slamming rates to interest rate to zero like they're going to, it will work for a little while.
Has been the US dollar. So when these countries collapse, they buy dollars.
Exactly.
They swap their currency, they change their whole economic system, they buy US dollars, they fly them in, and they survive that way.
Exactly. That's 100% correct. It's going to be exactly what happens. But there could be liquidity problems. There's the potential, and if not, the likelihood that there could be a shortage of dollars, that they can't get enough of them. I think that is actually a possibility, that they cannot get enough dollars. And what are they going to do? Maybe they flee into crypto.
There's more $100 bills outside of America than there is in America.
It's true.
I mean, it's Saddam Hussein, all the big leaders, when you break into their palace, you're going to see just stacks of $100 bills. But gold is another one. So you're talking about a country we see maybe they move into crypto. That could be true, but also we are seeing moves in China and in Russia with gold that it might counterbalance the idea of people moving into crypto for safety, because they are hoarding.
Yeah, they've absolutely been going into gold, and they're going to continue to. And again, if people want mad crypto gains, if there is a here's the thing: if so gold this year has run from like I don't know around 2,000 or 2,200 to 2,600. If you had a leveraged derivative bull bet on the gold price, you would have made crypto gains in the gold market. You would have made thousands and thousands and thousands of percentage points gain in the gold market. So one of these misconceptions that people have is that, and that Richard portrayed, is that the only way to get mad gains is in crypto. It's just not true. There's other ways to get mad gains. They're risky, but yeah, so is crypto. A lot of these futures markets, like you can bet derivatives on futures. That's like leverage squared. Those things move like cryptos, and whenever you start seeing the gold price go up more, which a lot of people think it's going to, I think it's going to temper itself a little bit. I think demand for the dollar is actually going to be higher than gold. But anyway, I got to go to bed, guys. It has been so awesome to talk to y'all, and we have some great people in here, and I hope we can do it again sometime.
Yeah. I hope we also get this space up on YouTube, guys. Like whoever records the space, post it on YouTube so we could go back and the community can watch it.
Yeah.
Yo, Texture, follow me back.
Who is speaking right now?
The host.
What do you see it? Did it work?
Huh? Oh yeah, it did. Thank you.
Good night, y'all. Love you.
Good night.
Hey, had we talked any longer,
very enlightening conversation. Thank you.
Had we talked any longer, I would have asked you about freaking Satoshi's vision. So hey everybody, I am recording this on Hex Futures YouTube channel. I probably missed out on the first 30 minutes of the conversation, but the recording tells me that it's 1 hour and 36 minutes long right now. But yeah, we just picked his brain for the second day in a row. Hexicans.
Well, I missed a lot of it, so
brain.
I want to go back and listen to some of that. I know I've been saying a lot of the stuff he's been saying about Japan and the U.S. dollar, and a lot of people in crypto don't believe. Probably me, but you're gonna see something bad happen first in countries like Japan, most likely, because they're 30 years ahead of what we're doing as far as debt. But yeah, so I think we get along. I'm very bullish and positive because Japan's been able to pull it off for 30 odd years. So if America's the last one to go, we've got a long runway of because they haven't collapsed yet, right? So anyway, if we go towards negative interest rate or close to zero again, it's bullish for crypto, maximum bullishness. I know Trump loves low interest rates, and he's going to be pushing for it hardcore next year. We've already seen them, start to drop the rates, but we need to see closer to zero. Let's go all the way, and that could help U.S. debt. It could also help companies maybe take a roll of the dice on holding some Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Like why not if it's 0% interest? And hats off to the what is it, the Stack wallet break even at this point. That's pretty cool to see, everybody. I mean, we kind of waited on that, and people poo-pooed on that for a while, but Richard made a post like, you don't sell when you're in a loss. Who's got diamond hands? Diamond hands don't sell when you're negative. And that wallet just kept chilling, kept holding, and lo and behold, it's going to be massively positive, most likely, as long as he keeps doing what it's doing. It's outperformed Solana, it's outperformed Bitcoin. So we're coming into, let's call it ETH season for a little while, hopefully, right? Let's turn the tides and pump ETH for a while, hopefully. And we're gonna, I think that's where our ecosystem gets gets really excited because it's not just the SAG wallet. There's a lot of players that have ETH that actually determined that ETH was going to do better than Bitcoin. So they determined to hold ETH. And if ETH has gains, then they'll probably pick up some more RH assets. So that's even like Godwell, SAC Wallet, RH. There's some other whales in our community that favored ETH, and maybe it would have been nice if they favored Solana for or maybe it would have been nice if they favored Bitcoin, but they favored ETH, and we'll see. Hopefully, ETH does its little thing, even if it's small. It could be $1 billion pretty quick. That could come into our assets. So that's all we need, really. Doesn't have to happen, but man, it's looking really bullish.
I commented in the purple pill with the link to this space being recorded, and now it's in the nest as well. ETH price is 36.98.
Yeah, I just checked that. Like everything's going up. XRP hit $2 and retraced everything related to XRP, like XLM, Flare, Songbird. They all went up as well, but they haven't started retracing.
I think eHex has kind of stayed the same, but pHex has gone up. So pHex is at 2.57 cents, and then
you talking about just for today?
Yeah, I think pHex has just gone up just a little bit.
But eHex went up.
Right, eHex hasn't gone up lately, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Pulse chain is at 82% of SAC rate. Pulse X is almost to 56% of SAC rate. And Ink token is $3.65. So that's the winner for today.
Yeah, I'm still down. I'm halfway down from SAC rate.
You mean across the board?
No, just on PLS. Yeah, Pulse chain, yeah.
Pulse chain's at 82% of SAC rate.
Really?
So how are you at half?
That don't make so. What the hell did I do? How did I lose money? Because I sacked 20K, but I only have like 12K, and I didn't really like sell. It's just been sitting in the farm from day one.
Impermanent loss.
Okay, then that makes sense.
Did you have to sell some of it in order to match, in order to farm?
No. So I started with things that I already had, and then I used those to go into other things that I would need to start farming.
So I just did the math. You ended up with 200 million pulse coins, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. So technically, because the biggest thing I'm farming with is my hex on the ink farm.
You mean hex pulse?
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm taking half of that ink and going into other farms. Like I'm taking half of the ink, selling it, and matching it with the other half, and then going into farms. That give me more ink. So my question to you is, do you think ink's gonna go back to its all-time high and above?
The funniest thing about ink is it's the coin people are getting rid of the fastest, which means that people don't have it to sell. So I know some people think, oh, wow, it's just a dump coin. But what if everybody dumps it? Then what happens? Nobody can sell it. And if nobody can sell it, it could actually go up pretty fast. I'm not saying it's going to stay up, but I mean, there are some big players that have a bunch of ink and they'll probably dump the charts, but it does have a whipsaw possible. You know, it could pump a lot and then dump. So if your fingers on the trigger, you might catch a good ink move.
So
Yeah,
that's my theory as well. So
here's the thing about ink though. When we went to $80, it was on its very initial creation and it had almost no liquidity, right?
yes.
So ink, when it went up to about $10, had a massive amounts of liquidity. And that was like a more realistic price chart. Like that's like a reality move compared to compare us now to then. So does ink go from $3 to 10 or 20 or $50? You know, like it's possible. You know,
I
if
mean,
you
I
get
would
scared,
be happy with
we
a
just need people
$5 ink.
scared. No, we just need people who are scared. Are you scared to sell your ink because it's going up faster than everything else? When you're scared, you're not going to sell. And if enough people get scared and a few people who have big bags that want to see it up higher because they're earning a lot of ink, they can pump it. And we've seen them do it. Like big
Yeah,
wallets
yes.
came
I
in
don't think
recently and just
that
bought
scared part.
$200,000 ink. Boom, it popped up. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I don't think the scared part has hit yet.
Same thing with Hex. Like everybody's selling Hex, and then all of a sudden, Hex is up to 2 cents, 2.5 cents, and you're like, wait a second.
And see,
What if I
that's
wait
the
a
part I don't
week?
understand
What if
though.
I wait a month? What if I wait 2 months? Is it going to be 5 cent Hex? So if I sell now at 2.5, I might be losing half of my money, which is kind of foolish. Why don't I just be a little patient? And you could draw that out all the way to next November, December of next year, and you could say, give Hex a little breathing room. This thing could go to 10 cents. It could go to 50 cents. We don't know, but you cut yourself at the knees, you don't get all the gains. That's how it works in crypto.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I don't understand why people are selling their Hex when they can get yield off of their Hex in the farms and then use what they get in the farms to either get more Hex or get whatever else they want to get.
Yeah. This farms are a miracle. And if you're not living in the miracle world, maybe you're more negative. Like I'm accumulating Hex through the farms every day right now because in my opinion, a lot of people liquidated their hex bags, so that's curious to me, and it's potentially the one that could move the best. It's been moving the best. We're going to hit 10x on our hex from the low. It's, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's inevitable, but it only takes us going to 3.6 cents, which is very possible.
And that's why I'm so
close.
bullish,
So
because
1 penny from here.
that's why I'm so bullish, because again, a lot of big whales, big fish are selling off their bags like they did last time. So either they're capitulating and then they don't really see it having a future going forward, which I'm totally down for. Sell your bags and sell it cheap. Because I don't want them to be selling their bags fucking high. I want them to sell their bags cheap on both chains, on Ethereum and on PLS. I don't care if they got 200 million. Sell that shit cheap.
Well, if you got hex lower than these prices, it gets very interesting from a yield standpoint. Like if you got in at 0.005, which hex maintained that price for a long time, and we're up at you're up 500% right now. Now the yield that you earn actually looks pretty interesting, right? Like you could say, why would I sell my principal? Because I could actually earn yield for the rest of my life. You know, this sounds pretty fun. That's you don't have to do your principal ever. You know, you can just keep earning yield. You can sell the yield if you want, or push it out long for a free. GoodTexture calls it a dream token. Okay, you want a free dream? Stake some hex short, get the hex, stake that yield 15 years. Now you got a free dream 15 years from now. There's nothing wrong with that, folks. And you keep your principal, and your yield is your dream token, right? Your yield is your what if. What if hex goes to $1? All right, let me put I earned 10,000 hex yield. I'm going to stake it 15 years. It's free. It's a free chance 15 years from now that you could have $100,000 instead of only what is it? 10,000 hex right now, 250 bucks or whatever, something like that. So you want 250 bucks now, or do you want potential for $100,000? And that potential was given to you free by the hex contract. So that's another way of looking at your longer term ladder build. If you want to do this strategy, it's a zero risk option on the dream of high gains in the future based on adoption, mostly, right? Like as we gain more users, Hex could have a lot of buy pressure. And if you get that, the price goes up, then what happens? You know, you're going to see not too many people would have held that long, right? And since you are holding for free, it's easier for you to hold, right? You want to hold something for free that has the potential? Yeah, why not? Who cares? You're not tempted to even EES that thing because it's free. Whatever it ends up as, it's like, this is insane. It's 2 pennies. Well, I got it for free and now it 10x with yield. So now my cost basis is 0.0025 instead of 2.5, even though I got it for free. You know, so even if it's 2.5 cents, it's flat, but you got 10 extra bag because the yield paid you out for 15 years. Oh my goodness.
All right, I got a question. I got a question.
Go for it.
Why are we still talking about staking hex for 15 years? What are we doing? Why do we have post-chain?
30 years.
30? Jesus Christ. You must be smoking dick, bro. That's fucking ridiculous at this point. That's fucking ridiculous at this point.
How to do it for free with zero risk, and you're challenging that idea. That's weird.
Bro, that's fucking ridiculous, bro. That's the most stupidest shit I've ever heard in the last 2 years. being in post chain, bro. Richard Hart would be so disappointed in hearing that dumbass shit, bro.
You don't even know who Richard Hart is, but
no one knows who Richard Hart is. Who gives a fuck?
Is Reaper the one talking?
Yeah, Nick Reaper. Never seen you before, but you do sound like you're an antagonizer, which is kind of
wait. No, hold on. Let's keep it civil. So Reaper, how do you?
Yeah.
Think,
okay, I'm sorry. Let's keep it civil. I'm sorry.
How do you think?
I just been listening to this ridiculous nonsense. You know, I'm sorry.
Okay, hold on though. But how do you think rich people get richer?
Yeah.
Okay, but most of us aren't rich, right?
No,
so why should we stick
that's
for
not
15
what I asked
years?
you though. I'll tell you how you get rich once you answer how rich people get richer.
Okay. Enlighten me, please.
So you don't know how rich people get richer?
No, because I'm not rich. So I have been obviously doing something wrong.
Well, no. I mean, you haven't followed anybody who's changed their life? That's how most of us got here. We've either followed somebody that we looked up to, that we kind of mimic what they did to change our life right now for the next couple of years.
Makes sense.
That's all.
So what are you trying to say?
That's all we're technically trying to get at.
Okay, but I'm saying the old narrative of staking for 15 years is a thing of the past. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. Okay, give me a
just
good argument.
13.2 billion hex last month. Last month, people staked 13.2 billion hex. Can you imagine? You might not be able to imagine that, but we love hex in this room.
Hold on. So, because I'm still staking hex, not for me, but for my kids. So when you say certain things like that, it kind of makes me wonder, and it makes me think like it doesn't make sense. It's the same way of opening up a CD or something for my kids and waiting until they get mature for them to collect it. So if I did a max stake, or if I did several max stakes, now depending on when the age of my kid, by the time they mature to adulthood, their stakes would mature with them, and they're gonna get 100 times more out of what they put in, or out of what I put in at the beginning.
But at that point, do you think hex is still going to be a thing? Do you think your kids might want to take on these T-shares or whatever and continue them on or whatever?
Well, at that point, they don't need to continue what on. They could cash out if they want to. The same thing with their Bitcoin. They could sell that shit if they want to. It's not for me. I don't control what they do with their assets. I only control what I do, is acquiring the assets for them now so they can make the decision whether or not they want to work for somebody else or just live life.
Hey, Ripper, when did you change your name from King?
A couple months ago or a couple weeks, something like that.
Why is it that your
feed from the video game?
Why is it that your feed is full of optimistic hex related stuff, but yet you came in here swinging a sword?
Because why would you talk about staking hex for 15 years? That makes no sense.
Do you
At
know,
this point, everyone should be looking to make money off of PostX, PostChain, and Ink and PDI or whatever. Staking hex for 15 years at this point just seems ridiculous to me. Like,
we're doing
it's fucking horrendous.
Nick, we're doing everything. So I'm not saying
we're not saying to do one strategy. We're doing everything.
I just told you to go in the farms, earn some free money, swap it for hex, and stake it for 15 years if you want to, because guess what? That's a free play for a dream in the future that could very well be valuable. And if it's not valuable, there's zero risk in that. And for what Tekken was saying, that's something I totally believe in. You set something aside for your kids, you build them a ladder. Maybe it's one stakeout, 15 years, because they're young, they're 2 years old. Who knows? The Bitcoiners, most of them, sold before it hit $100, before it hit $10, they sold early, and that's why Bitcoin's so high. But we have a tool that teaches us something in this delayed gratification that's beyond trading, which that's self-development. It's actually not just a narrative. It's training you to get off the charts, stop wasting your time, and do something good in your life. And if Hex turns out to be great, you're successful on both ends, right? And if Hex fails in 30 years from now, well, you believed in something and you bettered your life in the meantime. For one thing,
it didn't
if
really
it's
cost you
lasted 5
anything
years,
to get in early.
no, it lasts you 5 years already in Hex. So if you've been around 5 years, you know what's going to happen, whether you like it or not. Bitcoin, which is a worthless coin, has been around 15 years. So if you've been around 5, you're going to be around 10. If you've been around 10, you might be around 20. It's shocking that Dogecoin is in the top 10, but Cardano, some of these coins are absolutely
Actually,
like
Hex is
jokes,
in the
but
top
they're
10.
there.
Hex
Yeah,
is in the top
it's
10. They just don't reflect it.
right.
They're
I mean,
gatekeeping.
so
They're gatekeeping
you
us.
could say staking's dead. You could say stay liquid, and that's a strategy. But I'm not telling you not to stay liquid. I mean, if your strategies stay liquid, hold until November 29th, 2025, and then nuke your whole bags out of Hex and just take the cash and live a good life. If that's your plan for crypto, that's your plan. I mean, I'm not going to criticize you for that. For myself, I'm into Hex for 20 years, probably 30 years. I have no idea how long, but it's not going to be just 15. I can tell you that much. So the cool thing about Hex is, even though some people will leave, if there are people who care for 15 or 20, it's not going to stop. They'll be buying, like, if there's a crazy Hex dip 10 years from now, and I have stakes coming out 5 years later, to protect my weight in the system, I will take money from my day job and I will buy that dip like crazy, because guess what? Now I'm a whale. Cool. I wasn't a whale before. Now I am. So I'll be watching the Hex chart for 15 years. If anything cool happens or anything scary happens and everybody gets really, really nervous and starts really decimating the chart, to me, that's opportunity. And I'm going to take over the system. Hats off to me, right? And we'll see what happens after that. But it's all speculation, right?
Yo, do you guys hold any ink? Tekken, you know, I know you,
Mask.
so.
I'm not Mask. What was your original name? I can't remember.
Mitch.
Yeah. Mitch, we've already had the discussion so many
I'm not.
times.
That's why I said Tekken. This like
you need to just send me a goddamn address and I'll send you some ink, because you tripping, bruh. But in fact, I'll just send you some.
Oh, me?
I'll
You
send
want
you
me to
some
send you
Hex.
my address? I'll send it right now.
Nah,
I'll send you
to
some
me,
Hex
brother.
and you can farm the shit.
Hey, Hex,
Because you
ink,
miss it
whatever you
out,
want to
bro.
do.
Like, you really miss it out. If you have not allocated, dude, you miss it out, dude.
Who should I send my address to? Hex DCA?
Definitely not. So
Tech, you serious?
So Hex DCA was just talking about how you could passively earn a few dollars a day, acquire some Hex, and stake it out for the longest amount, and that would be just a way to get a few coins in the future. And whenever you're sitting there talking about, like, is Hex going to be around in 15 years? I've been here from day one. I staked on day 6 or 9 or something like that. I now have stakes that are 33% done, because stakes that were the maximum amount length stakes that are now 33% done, because we've now been going for 5 years. We're about to have, in 2 days, we're going to have a 5-year birthday party on Matty Allen's stream on YouTube, everybody. And the idea that he wants to get across to everyone is the possibility of having the most people stake out for 15 years on that day. Start a new fresh wallet, have it to where it's not going to bog you down with the idea of too many people unstaking on the same day in the future. Hardly stake anything out. Don't add it to your your big staking calendars and stuff like that. It's just an event to publicize our support for the system. But I understand what Ripper's saying. He wants to come in here and make a lot of money as soon as possible. Here's the bull market coming. Why would you lock up your coins right before a bull market? Well, we're talking like the rebuttal said amongst the guys here. We're talking about spreading out the things that you're doing and diversifying. And even though you don't want to lock up your coins, other people are seeing it as an opportunity right now with the certain share rate that we have, because however much hex you put out there depends on how many shares you get out of the system. But here in a little while, those share rates are going to go up. So it's going to cost more hex. So it constantly evades you. That's the ratcheting that's been mentioned by GoodTexture earlier in this recording. It's constantly going to take you more hex in order to earn passively more hex. So back to Mitchell or Michael, who was talking about ink. You want to know if people are speculating on ink? Ink went up today. I don't know why, but it's the biggest gainer today. 18.67% is what GoPulse is telling me. It's sitting
it's
at
the biggest play in hex next to hex going up. Everybody's betting so heavily on ink being a true utility token, like not like Uniswap, more kind of like Sushi Swap, but better.
That motherfucker is definitely the rocket ship of the day.
A lot of the areas of the farm, you have to have ink to pair.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
really?
Yes. So if you bought it cheap or you was earning it the whole time, like I know some people who earn like 100 ink tokens a day. Mind freaking blowing, bro.
Bro, that's at current price, bro. That's like $360 a day.
Yeah. So why would anybody sell their hex if they're earning $1,000?
Price predictions for ink.
Think about it. Like some people out there care more about hex than ink, and they're willing to sell a little bit of ink to not have to sell their hex.
That's me. I'm selling ink to buy more hex.
I mean, if you are low on hex or you never got involved early in hex, ink is like giving you a chance to catch up, whether you want to play it or not. There is some risk involved. Like impermanent loss is a real thing. Like if you want to lose money chasing ink, that's another story. Because your bags could go down 50% in a day. So it's not for the faint of heart, but hex can go down 50% in a day too.
Hello.
What's up, Dr.
Can you guys hear?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. So here's my strategy regarding ink. So like what I have done, and I think a lot of people have done that. See, I first put liquidity in the Pulse and PulseX pool and started earning ink. And as I'm earning, I'm just removing liquidity from that pool and splitting it into the ink farms.
That's what I'm doing. That's exactly the same strategy I've been doing. Yes.
So, and as I earn more ink, now that kind of compounds because now I'm earning ink in 3 farms.
Yeah.
So
and it kind of offset your impermanent loss.
Yeah, and so now I have only Pulse and PulseX with ink paired in the farms. So now I am earning only ink. So now to compound that, I do sell some ink and buy Pulse and PulseX. But here's the catch, right? Like if you sell it for Pulse or PulseX, the price of ink doesn't actually change. It only changes the ratio it trades at with Pulse and PulseX. Yeah, of course, there is going to be a bit of arbitrage and rebalancing, so price may fluctuate. But I think most people are doing that. So ink price kind of keeps pushing up because Pulse and PulseX price also keeps pushing up, and we know PulseX the price has been going up because
I would
yeah,
say because it has a buy and burn. So I would say don't sell your PulseX, bro. It's probably going to be worth a good chunk because it's a core part of the whole how pulse chain economics works. I would say don't sell your PulseX.
And yeah, the
you want to
thing
hold more
is,
PulseX than you hold PLS.
I don't really look. Everybody has their own favorite token. I like Pulse more than PulseX, basically because I was able to sack more for Pulse than PulseX. Because
Dude, you don't really understand though. PulseX has a finite supply, and it dwindles down. PulseX, I mean Pulse doesn't. So where is your value gonna grow higher? Not in Pulse.
So
Probably in PulseX.
here's the catch. Like actual total supply doesn't really matter. It's what is being sold or bought on the market. And with Pulse,
that's directly the token supply. So again, if I dump a billion PulseX, you know what I mean, or a billion Pulse, that directly affects how much. Like, dude, there's people out here with a lot of Pulse. You see what I'm saying? Compared to not as much PulseX. And when they do sell that PulseX, a good percentage of that is burnt off, never to come back. So the next time they sell the same amount, it's going to be higher, regardless if the price is lower.
Yes,
just due to supply and demand.
Yeah, but the thing is, from what I've seen on other chains, DEX tokens are always kind of less worthy than the main chain. Uniswap, I don't even want to mention others, but hey, the thing is,
so I would agree with you on that, but we're in a totally different era.
Hear me out. See, the Pulse, we are already seeing a lot of things being built for Pulse, and so people would rather not sell Pulse. Now, of course, there are talks that the PDI rebalancing. Yeah, well, if that does happen, even though I don't believe it is Richard doing it or will happen, but hey, I say like what is the scripture say? In God, all things are possible.
In God we trust, or in code we trust.
No, it's Matthew. Just let me. Matthew 19:26. With God, all things are possible. So
I knew he was gonna say that. I knew he was gonna say that.
Yeah. So
so I subscribe to different.
So what I'm saying is, we have more things being built now. PDI apart, we already have other what you call algorithmic stable coins, which are so you can borrow your against your Pulse. So people would do that, and see one thing
liquid
regarding
loans. So I already borrowed against my Pulse, so I get that part, but it's still Pulse has a huge demand compared to PulseX. That's all I want you to take into consider. Which one is gonna dwindle down less over time?
They're both gonna go up and down together.
But there's supply. That's what I'm saying. There's supply.
There's two different factors that come into play. So the factor of pulse chain being a layer one, so more demand, supply and demand is going to be in that factor. Most of the projects that are built on pulse chain is going through Pulse, not PulseX, unless it's built by me. But than that, Pulse and PulseX are going to go up and down together because of the liquidity factor. And
Coach, why you didn't say that was you talking?
What?
Why you didn't say that was you talking?
Oh, my bad. Hey, it's Coach X talking.
I had to fucking look at my screen. I was like, built by me. I was like, who the fuck? And then I was like, oh shit, it's fucking Coach.
Well,
oh,
charts
shit.
are the facts.
That was a compliment, by the way. That was a compliment.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and
If
so
you guys don't know, Coach is a promoter of PTGC.
He was also
Hey,
last in here
guys,
insulting people while he was drunk.
Dude, he does
Yeah, I
that.
appreciate it,
He
bro.
does that, but you just have to roll with it. He comes in other spaces and do that all the time. We just that's who he is. We just accept it.
hey,
We don't
guys,
really technically hold it against him.
hey guys, somebody put some porn in the what you call.
Shit.
Yeah, just
It was Sir.
Who is Sir Toshi? Yeah, so the thing is, it's not even good looking, so that's why I'm objecting. That's now.
Are you in India? Are you from? You sound Indian.
Yes, I am from India, not in India.
Like Indian, not
Yeah.
Pakistan, because some Pakistanis call themselves Indian.
Mumbai. I am from Mumbai.
Oh, okay. Because I used to date a girl from India.
Yeah, and I know, like, yeah, there are a lot of people who are actually from Pakistan but say they are Indian because hey.
Yes, because it's kind of the same, but not really.
Yeah, like hey, it's all part of Greater India, but it's okay. Like because of course there are negative biases against Pakistanis, and I hold some as well.
The beef is real between you guys. The beef is real.
Yeah, like there is no like comparison like for that. But hey,
So
that's not the point of the.
Why is it that we get porn up in the nest? Is that like, do they want you to click on it and then get viruses? Like, why does it happen?
I don't know at that point.
Christian, you failed, man. We got bombarded.
That was me. That was Highway that accepted that guy.
Well, it's all straight porn, so we do have something going.
Is it
for
good
us.
porn at least? Is it good porn?
I see
Going
some
all the way back, bro. And there's like 200.
I mean, I don't want to waste a click. So
I see some BBC, which is kind of appropriate for some of the stuff on Pulse channel.
Okay. Dude, there's a deck called BBC, so it's appropriate.
Bro, it's about time the trolls came. It's been a minute.
I
was wondering when that would start happening.
Damn, bro, I
been on
tried
here
them
for like
all.
what,
It's like
2 hours?
My nest is like only El Hexagano, so sorry guys.
I'm blaming Hexacano.
I got one eco builder tweet up top of the nest. That's all I got. El Hexagano and eco.
So just to remind everybody, earlier in the nest, I put a poll asking early Hexicans to chime in on where they transferred value out of and into Hex in the early days. And then down in the bottom in that purple pill, what did I put down there? Oh, I put the link to the YouTube recording of this space that's over on Hex Futures YouTube channel. Thanks.
Damn, that's what I wanted to ask freaking GoodTexture before he left. Did he sacrifice? Did he got in early enough to register his Bitcoins to get the airdrop for Hex? Because I did.
So he said that he was in the communications in like April and May and June of Hex, like that's whenever he found Hex and really dove in. So that would have been the time period where he could have gotten the exchange.
That's what I
rate.
figured.
Yeah.
Because I remember I moved Bitcoin off of the exchange just to get to participate and get the airdrop.
What was the exchange rate at the beginning?
It was,
if you don't mind me
it
asking?
was just like Pulses, where it was 1 to 10,000.
Yeah.
You got 10,000.
And that ended
Hex
up
for
being
$1 Bitcoin.
only $5.
Or 5,500.
Well,
in the
for
early,
every one
But you had to
Bitcoin,
hold.
for every one
You had to
Bitcoin,
hold. For one Bitcoin, you could get $5,500 worth of Hex.
yeah,
You
because
had to
that's what I
hold to
got.
the top
Yeah.
of Hex,
yeah,
Wait,
which
wait,
means it was almost
how many
it was
hex
like
did
an
you get?
8% or 10. It was almost 8 or 10% of your Bitcoin you could have got for free. 8% up your Bitcoin value if you claimed it for free. That's pretty cool.
How many? Yeah, but how
I
many?
wonder
How
if
many
anybody
Bitcoin did you have
kept
to?
exact track of that. Like they got the
I know a
10,000
lot of
Hex,
Bitcoin OGs did it.
staked it for like 5,555.
Yeah,
That would
yeah.
have been cool
That's
to
what I
keep
did
up
too.
with.
Yeah.
So whenever I was looking at it, I thought it was kind of silly that I participated in that because I only had the equivalent of maybe 1 Bitcoin. So they're
But their
in
T-shares was high.
they're in February or about it was about $5 worth of Hex that we got per Bitcoin claim.
But if you staked it, your T-shares was high though. That's what I really want to stress. Your that's why I staked it for 555 because you'll never see that T-share rate ever again. So you know what I mean? You're getting like 30 Bitcoin off of $5. I mean 30 Hex off of $5.
Did we start with 10,000 Hex per T-share or was it 15,000
Yes.
Hex per T-share?
It was 10,000, but
So you could get
after the
1
big
T-share.
payday, it went to 15.
Okay, that's why I was getting confused. So you could have gotten 1 T-share. That's interesting. We've got a hand up, Sauce.
Very.
Guys, I'm just trying to figure out like what's the hottest NFT project on Pulse right now.
Well,
what's got the meta? What I should say, what has the meta of Pulse right now? What will have the meta?
Let's see if Coach has that answer.
El Hexicano, why you
What's
doing
Hexicano? Hey, ¿por
Why
qué me
you buzzing
estás?
them out?
¿Por qué me estás tocando el
I have an
timbre
answer.
así?
Hey, cálmate, güey, cálmate.
So I think there are a few people down in listener who might be interested in chiming in. Like A-Bit Hex is down there. He might send you a personal message.
Because dude, I'm not a stranger. I got that. I had that 9 and
Hexicans.
I had that. I'm not a stranger to it, dude. I had that 9
I'm just
drop and
kidding.
that shit was fire. I had like probably $2,000 worth of that fucking 9 drop and that shit was lit. So what's the next meta, dude? Trying to find out.
Yeah, we don't talk too much NFTs, but this does go along with our title, Christian.
it's in your
It is
ecosystem.
in
How
the
could it
space.
not?
So
It's
it's
literally in the
valid. It's valid.
ecosystem. You
Yeah,
guys
it's
have
in the
little post
ecosystem, so it's
OGs,
valid.
dude. Your post OGs give me $2,000. How could it not be part of the meta? Come on, man. You gotta have builders in here for NFTs.
I don't
But that's
really build
actually an interesting
NFTs, but I
question
build
because
charts. I think that may be the Tang Gang. I only see them creating NFT projects.
there's too much controversy around the Tang Gang, though.
No, I'm saying those are the only
Yeah.
like groups that I see creating NFT projects with utility. That's about it.
Yeah, I understand that. But yeah, like I said, it's just too much controversy around them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So, Sauce, are you familiar with those guys?
Tangang, like Tech said, there is controversy around them. This is Tadeb, if you guys didn't know. This is my alt. So I've been around the block a little bit, but no, I'm an FT head, always have been, and it makes bread. 9NM did me well. I'm just trying to figure out like what's the next hot thing that's happening on Pulse in terms of NFT projects. I do like art. I think fucking that makes it a fun part of blockchain and whatnot.
So,
well, I just popped in to see like what's up with that.
Well,
There's a couple.
A good person you could ask is Mana. She's like an artist that works on a lot of NFT projects. You might want to ask her. I can send you her profile if you want.
And
yeah,
one of the digitized PFPs down below is Vlad. He's got the fire symbol, and he is a paying member of Twitter. His handle is feels Vlad.
Yeah, I just added him. And what was it? If you could shoot me the handle of the gal that you mentioned.
Yeah, I'll send it. Her name is Mana.
Mana.
I'll send it.
MANA.
MANA.
And
who else? Sorry, who's talking? So I can send to your profile.
It's Sauce.
Oh, Sauce.
Who wants
Okay,
to
I'll
know?
send it to you right after. I'll follow you and then I'll send to you. All right.
For sure.
Mana, I think,
I'm
is
following the panels.
one of the people that does like the giveaway Fridays, and so they meet every Friday and do a space, and she'll be inside of a 3D area painting something, and it's often a tiger that we see her painting.
Nice, that's cool. Oh Jesus, dude, you might want to clean up your nest, bro. What is that?
We're just trying to keep the kids out.
I am. 400 videos.
You're gonna bring the kids in with that? Keep the kids out? I don't know.
That's actually an NFT project launched by a Hexy bastard called BBC.
He must be a smart person. He's a grand marketeer. I'll say that.
Yeah, I know who Hexy Bastard, or I know of him.
Keeping the kids out, or keeping the kids in, should I say, with that post.
Hey, I just wanted to say the current meta on Pulse Chain is forked copies of coins. So
Who
I
is
don't.
this? This is Cleo, dude. This has gotta be Cleo.
No, he's not. It's
Dude,
not Cleo. It's not
Cleo's
Cleo.
posting
It's
shit
not
in the
Cleo.
nest, bro. That's Cleo, dude, posting shit in here. What is that? Sartoshi is fucking Cleo, dude. Only that nigga posts stupid shit like that.
Yeah, NFTs aren't really being talked about as much on Pulse Chain right now. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
copies. Cause dude, freaking Chainlink's almost at parity, yo.
yeah, but the
Dude,
thing
Chainlink is almost
now,
at fucking parity, yo.
Tech, stop posting weird
I
shit in
wonder
the nest,
who
bro.
owns a lot of that, by the way.
Coach, stop posting weird shit in the nest, dude.
You said Chainlink?
You can see who like posts in the nest, so it's obviously not me.
Wait, how do you
Yeah,
make
I
a
said
post in the
Chainlink,
nest?
dude. Go check it. I think it's at $12 or $11.
No, it's
It might
11
move
I
down.
know. Well,
What?
all the PRC20s. Who was buying all the PRC20s back in last July in 23, and majority of it is in LP. Think about it.
I think it's 11 cents, not $11.
Okay, my bad.
I could be wrong, and I want to be wrong.
I'm gonna go check real quick because I want to be right, but I mean, 11 cents, oh, it's still okay, but $11, yeah, because I sold some chain link, the real chain link, and I was hoping like the
How
copy
we doing,
would.
fellas? I see Coach on here. I asked a question. If you don't mind me asking.
Go for it, bud.
Conduit X. Conduit. Talk to me, please.
What? Conduit? Hex?
Yeah, so Ordeon direction. I'm not saying you got part of it or anything. I was just a little scuba diving and more into it, and I'm like, the chart do not lie when you follow the river, and everything making sense from the conduit X conduit along with the Ordeon direction, I believe. And everything is just like this is some new alpha. I probably shouldn't bring it up too soon, but I was just so excited. Just had to see you like, let me bring this up. If you knew anything about it, not saying you did, just throwing it out there.
Can you throw a link in the purple pill or something like that so that the rest of us can understand what you're talking about? Which you're talking about a product or a project that's off to the side of Hex or relates to Hex in some way or not at all?
Like Coach would know, I mean, talking about X protocol, that thing is doing amazing. Anybody don't know about that? That's why I'm bringing it up, and that go with the river as well. I think the river flow through X protocol along with the GPGC, everything else. But this is some new stuff that just unfolding. I'm in the trenches. I mean, so when I seen that, like, oh my gosh, this is freaking brilliant.
It
And
sounds like it. Sounds like you're in the trenches.
it is. But when it started unfolding and everyone else started seeing it, just knowing that it's just stuff that will happen. Start seeing it about a month, 2 months later, people start picking it up. Like, what the hell is this? Like, well, this stuff I'm seeing right now. Someone does unfold, maybe it'll start adding up in pieces. And this is why it's so exciting on chain with the X protocol. Because Coach, I know you got a little part of that. I know you can, and it's doing fucking awesome. And I didn't realize how awesome this is, but GPC, how stupid that's doing with the PDI protocol. Well, there's, I mean, don't want to switch it up on the conversation, but just saying that it is amazing what's happening at the moment right now that we're seeing all nice.
Well, you just have to think about like what UFO actually holds. Like it has 61 million p hex in liquidity. So think about that. Put that in your cap. So p hex moves up. Guess what else moves up in terms of liquidity? With PTC, let's see. Hold on. Let me hex p hex. There's 15 million p hex in liquidity with PGUC. So X is built on top of PGC, which is basically just another alt and all that. But at the same time, there's over, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 million hex in the ecosystem, plus about a million p hex and roughly $700,000 to $800,000, actually more, probably like $2.2 million worth of liquidity in that ecosystem. So what he's talking about is factual. And I'm a builder. I'll keep on building. If anybody has any questions, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll be humbled enough to say that I faded PT PGC, whatever.
I ain't gonna lie, I
And
did too.
coach
I
knows.
fitted that shit hard.
So did I.
Coach knows what the fuck he's talking about, dude. He's been here since the inception of that shit, and I faded it, and I shouldn't have, and I feel like an idiot. But yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Coach knows what the fuck he's talking about. It's not just price goes. It's not just like, ooh, price goes up. Price is like amazing now. It's like, nah. Coach knows if he's saying something, like he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
When he's sober, when he's drunk, half of the shit is bullshit. But when he's sober, he knows what he's talking
Hey,
about.
half the shit, bro. At
Okay,
least
half
half.
the
That's
shit. Half
50%.
the shit.
Hey, half the shit that came out of Richard Hart's mouth was like bullshit too. So you have to think about that.
But it was believable. It was believable when you said it. Was just it's not believable.
But like this is but like think about it, bro. Like think
It's the
about it.
psyop.
Like
That's the psyop.
Now, I can say one thing. I know Coach changed many people's lives. I'll say one thing. I remember Coach when he chose a B-Root, talking about P-Dye on that a year ago. That right there got me, everybody else I remember, like life changing. Wow. I mean, because you 414 trouble came up in the scene, not knowing who the hell that was. I know Coach when he showed up to B-Root on that scene. I remember go. I mean, I can't. That's why I get a lot of props to Coach because he know what the fuck a lot of shit he's talking about. I mean, give him fucking levels on levels.
Think about this. Who was telling B Roots and Ian and a lot of people about P-Dye Atropa? What a concept, guys.
It was you. It was all you, my boy. I tell you, PBGC. It was you too. I mean, that's it.
Like I'm not the founder of PGC, but like if there was like the secondhand man, that was me. Like the amount of liquidity that I've burnt values at about $2 million, 2.5, something like that.
That's why you drink so much?
No, definitely
Oh, dude.
You don't want to know
I'm just
why.
fucking with you, man. I'm just
I was
fucking
there
with
from
you.
like the early shillings of PDGC when they had like, I don't know who the fuck this guy was. I don't know if it was Coach on an alt or what, but this dude came in like, I am an alien. We are here to take over. Like the worst voice fucking acting or fronting or whatever you want to call it came in. I was like, what is this corny,
Oh,
lame?
the 808 guy, or the
Yeah,
808
I was
wallet.
like, what is this corny shit coming in here, fucking with this alien voice, dude, shilling this shit. I was like, fuck this. It's a rug. And then mooned. It fucking mooned. I was like, oh, whatever. It's just a pump. It's a little pump. And it continued to moon. I was like, oh, fuck. And then it dumped. I was like, oh, yep, it's dead. And then nope. And then it pumped again. I was like, holy shit. I was like, these motherfuckers pulled it off. It was like that scene from Jurassic Park. Like, oh my God, they did it. They really did it.
No, you know what's funny about that? PGC when it came out, I was watching Vibrant Finance, and I remember he was talking about, I thought it was the golf coin or whatever. So that would throw me all the hell fucking off and find out no, there's no golf coin. This is a whole different level of a golf coin. But he brought that up, thought it was a golf coin. He got into it because it was a golf coin. Find out no, this is a fucking different beast. And I look back like, damn, fucked up. Should have thought it was a golf coin. I would have got in stupid.
You son of a bitch, you did it.
Hey, Maverick was a great launch today, by the way. If anybody is listening.
Can you speak a little bit more about that, please?
Basically, it's just like a heartbeat for the X ecosystem. So it buys and burns Heath, Bank, River, and River X, and then rewards X, and then it also buys and burns PGC, and then adds liquidity to the Pulse pair, and then buys and burns itself. So whenever there's an action, there's going to be a reaction in some place, some form, and there's going to be a forever buy pressure into the ecosystem some way or another.
Hey, Hex Maid, you've got the chirping going on at your house. Has that been going on for a while? Are you thinking about doing anything about it, or does it not annoy you at all?
The what's the chirping?
The chirp.
What's that?
You got the chirp.
What's the
That-
chirp?
It's where somebody has a fire alarm that needs a new battery.
Okay, that's what you guys call it? Really?
I've started calling it the chirp. Every time I see it inside of a video online, I'll put hashtag chirp.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the beeping noise. Yeah, that. Yeah. Okay. It makes sense. All right, I'll start using that hashtag. Chirp. They'll be like, "What's a chirp?"
I just think
Change your
it's funny.
goddamn battery.
It's funny. It's like I don't certain type of people view in a certain way, and so like I wouldn't be able to stand it. I would either take the thing down and disconnect the battery so that it couldn't chirp anymore, or replace the battery so that it could act as a fire alarm still.
No, I am the same way. I wouldn't be able to stand it. Literally.
So it's going to take you, I think,
Yeah,
a
I
9
don't
volt
got a chirp.
battery.
No, I don't have one. No, it's not chirp in my house. It's not mine. I don't got no chirp going on in my background.
Somebody's got the chirp.
Chirp is not welcome. I don't have it, but thank you for bringing it up.
We care about you, man. We looking out for you.
I appreciate thank you, man. I do got kids, and I thank you because who knows, right? I might be used to that sound and not knowing, but I do appreciate the bringing it up, man. 'Cause who knows? I could be sleeping, not knowing. I got my chirping going off.
Well, it'll scream at you whenever a fire comes around, but the chirping tells you that the battery's low. And so typically whenever people are like renting a house or an apartment, then they'll just ignore the air filter or the fire alarm. And 9 volt batteries, they've gone up in price. So
No, I feel you, my boy. I'm a homeowner, thank God, and no, we're doing good over here, man. But if it is a chirp, I'll be on it, man. My thing plugged
the
into a hard
damn thing
tower.
just chirped. It just chirped.
Might be a background thing back there, man. But I thank you, man. It might be, hey, like I said, right. That's pretty much very little. I think we're talking about more bigger things over here right now. We're talking about more like next level things about what's the big thing popping up right now on the crypto thing on Hex and Pulse Chain. That's what we're talking about.
I apologize for entering your house.
Chirp
No,
life is better.
I appreciate my
life's
boy.
better.
Much love. I'm saying no disrespect. I love you, man. Much love. I appreciate that. I said that's big because, like I said, who knows? Fire going off. What the hell? You appreciate me for bringing it up. That's all I gotta say. Thank you.
So, what are you guys' thoughts about communists?
Well, it's an instant rebate if you want to stake long, acquire it, and sell it. And then if you staked long, then you can later come and scrape it off later. So it's free all around. It'll probably have a price action similar to Hedron, don't you think?
That's what the next thing I was about to say. What you guys thought about Hedron?
It's free for stakers, both of them.
I don't know shit about Hedron. Enlighten me.
And the Hedron contract holds a lot of stake. I mean, a lot of hex.
So Hedron is interesting because Hedron has I guess you call it a protocol where you can wrap up hex stakes. You can make hex stakes with Hedron and make it to where they're NFTs and pass them around. So, for example, I could make a 5-year stake, decide that I don't want it anymore, and go and
isn't that
sell it.
Icosa? I think that's Icosa. Icosa is the one that I love here.
Icosa is the next level. The next level down.
Okay.
And I'm actually not as familiar with Icosa, but Hedron makes it to where you could have that wrapped up NFT stake of Hex and sell it back to Hedron or get a loan on it, and other people can bid at an auction, and it takes only Hedron at that auction. So it requires people to buy Hedron to bid on these Hex stakes that don't have a home.
All right, so this little question about that. I've been around. I know about all these Acosa, Hedron. So one thing about Hedron, if you're around since the beginning of Hex stake, you could claim your 10x multiplier at the time when it was available. And that was the downfall about Hedron that killed it, because people that were staking it since the beginning, they were able to claim a 10x multiplier on top of their stake. And that's what killed Hedron from it to be what it could have been. And it wasn't for the 10x multiplier, I think Hedron would be something more where it could have been versus for it being what is at right now. And many people that came in right now, coming in not knowing the history of Hedron, then Acosta came around. Acosta kind of made it a little bit more exciting to a point, but then again, that wasn't successful because of Hedron, where how it did the 10 multiplier kind of killed it as well because of the how that came across.
That's a very, very good point.
That's not a good point at all. Let's do the mic check really quick. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can. Just a second. Let me rebuttal, and then you can. So I think that's a good point, because there were people there in the beginning who saw Hedron's launch, and they said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and click this button on the first week and get this 10x multiplier. And then if you did it on the second week, you would get a 9x multiplier, and the third week 8x multiplier. So it kept on becoming it kept on evading you, but there were plenty weeks in order to participate. And I did that to my largest stakes. Now that is going to run out as the stakes become due. So whenever like it's only going to last, the maximum amount would be 15 years that this Hedron 10x multiplier could screw up the system. So that's something to keep in mind as well. What were you going to say, Abit?
It's not screwing up the system at all. So I've claimed a 10x bonus on all of my head stakes, and it is nothing compared to the bigger picture. Like all of these people that 10x bonuses, yeah, they get a nice little bag of Hedron, but it's not enough to really suppress the price forever or anything like this. So how you have to see it is that Hedron is leveraged on Hex. And not only that, like it gives everybody free money. Like it doesn't make sense to talk down on Hedron. It gives you flexibility, gives you free money, it gives you the possibility to max out your t-shirt. Why would you stake for 5 years? Like just stake as an HSI for 15 years period. Like don't even make another decision. It doesn't make sense. Because you can always redeem the HSI stake for Icosa. I think that's a huge invention that Alex has brought to the Hex ecosystem. And I want to ask Hex Mate, what you were saying there, that these 10x bonuses are some kind of problematic. Are you speaking from your experience, or are you speaking from somebody said that and you picked it up and now
No, if you remember back in the NASA and all that from the whether it was like a sacrifice or adoption acting from multi investor back then. You remember that was like back in the time when it was already going to becoming a bear market, but we didn't believe it was going to become a bear market. And like I'm saying, if you go back, they were dumping a lot. They dumped a lot of Hedron, a lot.
Dude, I was
Because
dumping
that
a
was
lot of Hedron. The shit was high.
Yeah, there you go. And where's it at right now? It ain't going.
But now I'm just providing a lot of liquidity with it.
But I was buying it too. I was buying Hedron, but I knew I was getting dumped on at the same time. Like other parts knew they were getting dumped on because they knew that since people that had big bags, hex before people came in, they're like, oh, I'm fucking blessed. I got 600K of Hedron.
Dude,
I'm dumping this, and that's what happened. A lot of people dumped it, but that's of course. I'm not saying anything bad about that. But that's just people that came in before. So like me right now, I've been in the game a little bit longer now for others. So people come in right now, they want to buy my bags. Guess what? It's like everyone else. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna dump. I'm gonna dump. I came in early. My bad. And that's how it goes, right? We're on the casino, so we're all gonna take advantage. If you're in the game, people come in, they're not knowing, so they're gonna be whatever. But if you're putting
I
time
would
in,
say it's not even if they're not knowing. They're already knowing they're coming into the game that's already been playing for X amount of seasons, so to speak. So they're just gonna try to fit in where they fit in.
well, we
You know what I mean?
assume that everybody knows. Trust me right now. We assume. We can't assume nothing, right? We assume on our own self. You assume it.
Actually, it's no assuming. There's two ways to get Hedron. Either you buy Hex and you stake it and you get Hedron, or you buy Hedron, right?
So no, he's a little more complicated because to learn about Hex, how to stake it, and then how that works, that's not for the regular people. Then we learn about Hedron.
Earlier today, or earlier in the conversation, we established most people aren't going to stake their Hex. They're just going to hold it liquid. You see what I'm saying? So it's like
I doubt that. I think the new bullies, the people come in, they are going to stake their Hex because they're going to believe in that wild time while you're making interest, while you're sleeping. I came in Hex because of that belief of learning, earning interest. That's why I came in Hex.
I'm there with you. Again, Hex is a CD product. That's the way he pitched it in the beginning. He's technically have never changed his stance on it being a CD product. So I get that. I got into it.
The only person not gonna stake it right away are the OGs, the people that already know how the shit works. The people that come in, new buddies, they're not gonna think that. They don't know how the system works. They don't know about every 4-year cycle, like how we know now. They're gonna come in assuming I could stake my Hex, I could stake it and earn interest every day and support my family. Us already knowing how the system works, we know it doesn't work that way. Sorry to say,
actually, no, it does. It really does. You can support it. Just I would say it depends on your price point, but I would also say we're kind of at the end of the 4-year cycle since institutions got involved.
Stake $1 million in Hex right now for 2 years. You say fuck no, because the cycle's gonna end. That's what I'm saying. You won't do that, but someone else would do that because they don't know it. They're not experienced like we are. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No. Wait, hold on. That's what I'm saying.
Hex Mate, can I ask you a question? Sorry, Tekken.
Go ahead.
Can you elaborate? Like, why do you say it doesn't work like that?
Because your $2 Hex that will be probably next year, about September 11th. Before then, will be $2, or probably a little more. But in 2026 in September, it will not be whatever the hot time high. It will be pretty much the low again, and that's what I'm saying. Same thing it was prior 2000, the last boom market. I'm saying it's all it is. It doesn't repeat, but Ryan, we all know this. Same thing with Bitcoin was not 69,000. And after all time high, it was down, going down with 40,000, 20,000, down to 15, 16,000, and went back up.
So no, wait. My only argument to that was, again, is certain things caused Bitcoin to drop down to 15,000. It was FTX, Celsius, Terra Luna, all of those over collateralized. If those things didn't happen, Bitcoin would have been technically where it's at today.
You're right. You're right. Bitcoin could have been 20,000 in 2012, right? I thought how much there.
We're going into a different illustration.
It could have been that. Well, 2017 when it was 20,000, it could have been to 100,000, but it didn't. From there, 2021 with 69,000, it went to 85. They told us everybody, oh, you go to 85, and you remember them telling us, oh, you go to 75,000 in Bitcoin is. I remember they're saying that bullshit. It never did. But I remember them.
It did. We blew past 75,000. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 2021?
Yeah.
I'm talking about 2021. I'm talking about last bull market.
But that's what I'm saying.
That was
That's
the
what I'm
market.
saying. That was the
Right
beginning.
now,
That was the beginning.
The pitches right now is 250, 240. That's the pitch right now.
Actually, the pitch is 380. That's the pitch. It's gonna top out at 380.
Maybe that's new pitch. That's new pitch right now. But right now, the pitch is that could be 380 or 150 or 240 is pretty much is reasonable because we already know 3 times. You go back, and Richard Hart said it too. We go back every time. We go 3.5x. The last bull market, 2017, what was it? 19,000, 20,000. 2021, what was it? 69,000, 3 times and a half. What's going to be this bull market predicted? 250, 240.
Now we're talking about the pullback. Now we're talking about the pullback. So if we top out at 250 or 240, what's the pullback? Is the pullback going to be 80? Is the pullback going to be 120? Is the pullback going to be, you know what I mean?
No, at that fucking time, better for your fucking life. Hopefully you didn't fucking sold. Hopefully you didn't fucking got your shit around, bought back in or some high, and then lost your shit. It's gonna be that moment. Right now, this moment right now, just be prepared what might be coming. Right now, if that moment come, who fucking knows what could happen, right? We might not be alive. We might be fucking dead. We might be some heart attack.
No,
but what I'm saying is, I'm just trying to say that.
Don't be wishing
I'm just trying to.
that.
No, I know, but you get what I'm getting
I already
at, right?
done had a life
Right,
scare. I ain't trying to have no more life scares again. Let's keep it positive.
We already know that's basically what it's gonna get at. We know we could pray for $500K, $1 million. We all know already for us being here, ain't gonna happen. For the new booties come in, they're gonna say, yeah, fuck yeah, it go to $500,000, it go to $1 million. I could get a house with one Bitcoin for $1 million house. This is what they're gonna think, because that's what we thought when we came in the system. Whenever we thought it came in, right? Who knows? Everybody's gonna grow. When you grow, you're gonna grow some hairs and skin later after you lose a lot of losses, because we're all coming different gains.
So when I started mining, right? I started mining in 2014, 2015, and I took a year off of working to see if I could support myself just from mining. And that's when I found Hex. And that's when it clicked. Like, I realized I could actually make a living strictly off of APY. That's when I switched from trading to just looking for assets that earn me more assets over time. Valuable assets like native yield, uncomplicated, you know what I mean? Whether or not if I can't get access to my APY until the expiration, or I get my drip out weekly. Those are the things I went into. Yes, those are the things I went into. Things that gave me out a drip either weekly or yearly, or for my end stake.
Okay, well, you remember now. We look back every bull market, the top 5, top 10, right there are not the same every bull market. They changes. Bitcoin and Ethereum been the only two, pretty much a little bit B&B, but it been different. It changes. Look at Doge. Look at Shiba Inu. Now we're gonna have Pepe now probably gonna take over the Doge. Might be the next phase coming over. Might be 150 market cap. Who knows? Billion.
Also, information is more readily accessible than it was when Shiba Inu first came out. No one knew where to look. Crypto Twitter wasn't a thing. Now crypto Twitter is a thing. Information is more readily available. People know to not go to Reddit for bullshit. People know to not to listen to YouTubers for bullshit. They know you gotta dig for info. Tekken, he's one of the rare gifts to the space. You know, he's been here since the beginning. He's one of the few objective opinion people I listen to personally, because he knows his shit, dude. He's been mining. He'll tell you straight up if a shit coin is profitable, and not to say derogatorily a shit coin is a shit coin, but like he'll tell you like, no, this coin or token is profitable because of this, and this. He's objective, right? So when Tech talks, dude, you gotta listen to this dude, because he's been in the game for a minute. He knows what's profitable, what isn't. He understands math, because that's all crypto is. Crypto is just math. It's not fucking rocket science. It's just math. Period. and a little bit of manipulation here and there. That's it.
Crypto is not
Hey,
math.
Sauce.
Crypto is just speculation. Let me ask you a
Hey,
question for everybody who is
wait.
APR
What
math people.
speculation is math?
One
Math
sec,
and
guys. One
time.
sec. Sauce. I fucking vouch for what you just said, bro. I double down on all that good shit you spoke on Tekken. 100%.
So did anybody of you guys spot Pika?
Hell yeah. I bought
Pika did a
I bought it to
10,000x.
speculate.
Exactly. Pika did 10,000x. Like you cannot do any 62% APY that Hex would be doing to outperform a 10,000x. That's not possible. But like that's the beauty of crypto. Like you don't need to know a lot. You just need to know Pepper is green, Pika is yellow. Like that's it. Just click the green button and wait.
Very true. A lot of people make make money and don't know half of all this
Half of how they
knowledge.
made the money.
Huh? What'd you say?
Half of how they made the money.
Right.
Hey, well, it get tricky now. You said just click the button and just wait. I got people coming in. I'm trying to tell them coming in crypto. They're telling me, well, I don't know what to pick. I don't know, like you know. I say, man, you gotta put your time in. Whatever is that? Well, you're lucky. Like, I don't know. This is where it get tricky to bring newcomers inside the crypto because they say, well, I don't know. I don't know. Like what you know. I don't. You're
So
lucky.
yeah. So then that's what I would tell you. Like if you're trying to figure out a strategy to onboard new people, you do a short, medium term, and a long term strategy for each set. And you pick tokens that you personally have seen success with in short, medium, and long term. And then you enroll them in those because you have seen your success.
Hey, yeah. Like you said, easy said than done. I show them the chart. I tell them the chart. I told them August is the best time to buy in. I tell them out there that how it went up. I'm telling you,
But
it doesn't
really and
matter
truly, the
sometimes.
chart don't matter. Is they're gonna ask you, did you take profits? What did you do with your profits? Did it change your life? These are the questions.
No,
I get.
of course. They want to see a Lamborghini. By the
Yeah,
time they see a Lamborghini, I
not
don't got time to
Lamborghini,
be around.
not
No,
Lamborghini.
but
They
I'm
just
saying
want to
this is what
see the
this is what they.
manifestations of your
No,
investment.
right. No, right, Chris. I'm telling you straight up. I know this is how the regular norm think. They don't want to believe till you see your big house, to see like you throwing cash. You know, you could tell them whatever, and I'm
Because
telling you,
numbers
like
on a
that's
screen is just numbers on a screen.
right. Exactly. That's basically what they see. Number of screen. I told them this is how they see on their screen. But I'm telling you, I try to get people come in crypto. Their mind doesn't click. I guess until you show them the fortune, then maybe that's when they want to click. But until then, you don't got time because you already been telling them like that. Like, well, that's it. Well, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm. They always want to get in at the top.
This is why I think
And look,
that
you can't help that. So you know what I'm saying? Again, they're exit liquidity for somebody else at that point.
Yeah.
I think it's the quick for all of us. Cause I'm telling you right
Well,
now, boys.
that may be true, or they might be the future millionaires. But you know what I'm saying?
You know what? That type of situation happened with a friend of mine that I'm in. You know, we talk frequently on crypto and stuff. He like I already had a little bit of Ethereum, but I wasn't doing anything with it. But he was, he brought up Hex and this and that to me and a couple other friends. I was the only one that was open minded and listening, regardless of my skepticism. And a little bit later on down the road, I got in, and those same other people that were in the same boat as me, like listening and taking information from the homie, they're asking about crypto now. When they see Bitcoin all-time highs and this, that, the other, and sometimes, bro, you just gotta let those people buy in at the top. Sometimes you gotta let them buy your bags, and because it's like I tried to tell you about this shit 3 years ago.
I got my
You know what
fam
I'm
hitting
saying?
me up for a PowerPoint. My family's hitting me up today. Like, you need to give us a presentation on what to buy and how to buy and where to buy. I'm like, oh my God, dude, I wasn't built for this.
Dude, that's the blessing and the curse. You picked when you got into crypto early and you changed your life.
But we have guides also. there is information out there where you can easily just copy and paste or direct them to other folks. On this topic, I think it would be cool if people's success stories were just laid out in a table, and then you could just show the table to somebody who's able to read tables.
For sure. Like, I don't know.
That's why
A
I'm
lot of people
so
like the
upfront
people
with scams that I've been in, rug pulls, like wallet security. Because, dude, I've lost so much money just by clicking on the fucking wrong link. All kinds of stupid shit.
Yeah, these people want shit hand fed to them. Like they have for instance, a lot of people that I'm dealing with now, my family, we're all blue collar workers, union workers, so they're all like pension driven, right? They're cops, they're in construction unions where they have pensions and stuff. So they want shit where you can go
Well,
to, click and buy, and that's it. They don't want to
well,
deal with
but
the
that's
swap.
where Hex comes in, guys, because for most people, they don't want to do what you're doing in crypto. They want to hold something for 10 to 15 years and not mess with it. They don't want to look at charts. They don't want to look at crypto. They're not interested. They could care less about this. They want to stake their Hex and chill for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I have a bunch of people I talk to that that's what they're doing. They never look at Hex. They got in once. Eventually, their stake's going to be done and they're going to look at it. But that's going to take 10 years. And they don't care about crypto. They literally just want to be involved. And they know that they're involved now. So they check that box. They don't have to feel like they missed out. Right. And in the meantime, if it works out, it does. I can't guarantee anything. So I guess I could just temper their expectation a little bit and try not to have them FOMO in too much. But besides that, I can't tell them what to do. So I hope it works out for them. But there's different types of people is what I'm trying to say. Like, hey, if you got somebody on Robinhood trading back and forth between the meme stocks, okay, maybe that's what they're going to do in crypto. They might do the same thing all day long. They could do it on Pulse Chain. That okay, you could show them all kinds of crazy charts if you really want to, but for a lot of the no coiners out there, they're used to something kind of like a 401k where you literally don't have to be involved at all. And that's kind of what Hex is if you want it to be that for you.
Oh no, you're right about that because remember now, you're in tech. When you're in Hex, when you're in crypto, you're pretty much on techie. You gotta be techie. You gotta send crypto to a certain address. So you gotta kind of know how to look up an address, which is not a fake address. So it is not your number norm. Even though we want to say it is, it can be. You can't. I've been in. I got my email since 2009. I guess I was only very young, but people at that time, 2009, 1999, 2000, early 2000, no one had email. I could say for a fact, and I learned about this damn, um, learned about how to do freaking telecommunication, all these hard drive. And at that time, being young, no one really was talking about that. Everyone had their regular house phones, and you got to pay 10 cents a second. I mean, for a minute to make a cell phone call. And that was that time growing up. Now we sort of past that. Now you make FaceTime calls off internet. So long story short, people are still in on that level. So people like us, you guys are here, you guys are techie. And this is what I'm trying to say. We're probably a little bit more lucky, advanced, or be able to. We got it. We get it. We're lucky to understand versus others. The normie just don't get it or doesn't want to try to put a little more effort. And that's why I'm happy to see Coach here on this space because I want to hear what Coach his knowledge because he's a builder. He's building stuff on Postchain. The stuff he's building right now it is being stupid. It is becoming something levels that people not going to understand till sooner or later. Like, what the hell? I wish I got on this. I wish I knew Coach when he was talking on space, because Coach he got a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge that I like to hear and listen. If he willing to speak up, because
Okay, you're
he's
making
a
Coach
man.
blush. You're making Coach blush.
Bro, honestly, I agree with you on us crypto users being a little bit more techie, unless like you really do have a background in tech and computer science, this, that. You know, those are the real motherfuckers that have an advantage or are really techie. But a lot of people, bro, were just normal motherfuckers that had some willpower and said, you know what, I'm going to learn this. Because, bro, we're human beings, man. If you put the effort in and you train your brain to, you know, you continuously do this same thing and you're exercising your brain, bro, you're obviously going to get the hang of it at some point, you know. You know, some of us, we're not really lucky or none of that. We just fucking chose something. We saw it. We saw it as a good opportunity. And, you know, here we are now.
Nope. And I attest to that because, again, from another community that we're part of, we knew people who didn't know how to like mine or do any of this techie stuff like consoles or any of that. And they learned their way through it.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. I'm one of those motherfuckers.
Yep. I fumbled a lot of bags off just being stupid. A lot of shit's just been airdropped into my wallet. Like thousands of dollars. And I would just be like, I'm gonna gamble it on this stupid shit. And I get wrecked. But yeah, dude. That's just the game.
Welcome to the price of learning.
Yeah.
I think we all get wrecked until we all learn knowledge, and that's what we are here right now. Because we already been in that stage. We passed that many times, lost so much money, but now we're here for gains. Only because we know now, like from all the stupidity, right? Gambling, we're like, okay, I know I gotta look for who the real truth. We know Richard Hart, why we're here for on Pulse Chain, and we're building. Well, not saying me, I know others are building, but I'm following the ones that are building, the ones I know are true, are being loyal and been showing on the charts. That's where I'm at. That's where I get a lot of respect. Like I said, to give the coach, don't want to make him blush. Like other, only because I'm saying he been around since the beginning. He's the one when I saw him on B Roots talking about P Die, besides BTGC, other ones that he be behind. It just show a lot of credentials, a lot of respect.
He was public enemy #1, dude, in fucking post world for a little bit, dude. That's why I respect it. I remember that. Everyone was giving him shit, dude, from every side.
Like think about this. So like out of Zen, everybody hates Zen, right? We can agree on that, right?
Yeah,
dude, it's more of a love-hate relationship.
Love-hate relationship.
Yeah, it's more of a love-hate relationship.
The best thing that came out of Zen was if you burnt your Zen for TG Zen, you got an airdrop of PGGC.
Yeah.
So
on the Pulse
out of
side
the
of
Zen
things.
community, so this is like my slam dunk on the Zen community, and even Jack Levin. Like I can say for myself, I did more of ROI for the community than you ever did in any other
That's what you're
project
talking about.
Zen
You talking about the almighty Jack Levin.
I know. I got a slam dunk on him every once in a while. You know, like I appreciate what he does for.
Oh,
what
okay.
He does.
You're lucky that
what that
it's
one
not
gentleman
recorded.
just said.
I just
Like,
checked.
Coach X was
I know, right?
bad guy number one.
But it is being streamed on YouTube, so.
My
goodness.
What that
I
one
can't take any
gentleman
more of
just said,
that.
like Coach X was.
We are done with this. So sorry to destroy the good start of what GoodTexture had started for us. Let's see, where is it? Hi everyone. Welcome to Hex Futures. I am an eco builder. You can get a hold of me at the web address. Where is it? At the bottom of the screen. And so that was a 3-hour recording. It started out with a space that was recorded that El Hexicano was hosting, and GoodTexture came in and blessed us with his presence and had a lot to say. And then after about an hour and 45 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes, I think, then it started getting all over the place. And the title was Pulse Chain, Pulse Chain across the board. So we allowed all sorts of stuff in there. The host gave me a message asking me, hey, what should I do about filtering out some of these people? And I'm just like, hey, your title reflects it. So then he changed the title to Richard Hart Coins Only about 10, 20 minutes ago, something like that. And I don't know if any of the guys in the space were even paying attention to the change of the title. Whatever the case, that's what we got. I spoke up and said, hey, Coach X, the last time we saw you, you were drunk inside the space, and you were disrespectful to a lot of the speakers. That's what I remember about Coach X recently, and somebody made a joke about it. Oh, we just have to deal with that, blah, blah, blah. Coach X obviously has been involved in some things that have been taking money away from Hex, and so I don't appreciate that. And that's just where I stand, because we've done so much to curate for the Hexicans. And but hey, it's Pulse Chain is being used. You know, we need users at Pulse Chain, and we want attractive stuff, green candles for folks to come over and play on Pulse Chain. So along the lines of what I've been saying recently, we're in this stage of, I don't even know what round of Hexicans, and we're probably in a second stage of Pulse Chain people, so Pulsicans. And the tickers are down at the bottom of the screen. This is our progress. We're doing pretty good. We're up to 80% sack rate on Pulse, and Ink is sitting at $3.63, I think, by now. I've got 53 down at the bottom of the screen. I guess that's it. Okay, so thanks, guys. I'll do outro. Of course, a Hex outro.